this hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump says Iran is about to face what he's calling economic D-Day with more severe U.S. sanctions kicking in. Treasury Secretary Bessent is set to unveil details of the sanctions today as Iran's currency plunges to an all-time low. The president's 50% tariffs on Canadian imports are now into place as Ottawa vows retaliation. The Canadians say they'll match the American sanctions dollar for dollar. Voters in several states head to the polls tomorrow. Correspondent Laura Winters says they'll be casting ballots in primary runoffs.
On Tuesday, there is a House special election in Georgia, a runoff for Senate and governor in Oklahoma, and in South Carolina, a Senate runoff between Republican Darlene Graham and Republican Ralph Norman. Darlene, the sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, is endorsed by President Trump.
A Trump administration plan aimed at strengthening oversight of mail-in voting advances, even as the issue works its way through the courts.
USPS has finalized a rule requiring voter eligibility lists and unique tracking barcodes for federal mail ballots. The administration says the changes are designed to prevent ineligible voting and improve election security. 23 states have sued, and a federal judge blocked implementation for this year's midterms. The administration has appealed to the Supreme Court, which has not yet ruled. Ken Lorman reporting.
It is called the Hawk Fire, and it is bearing down on Reno, Nevada. The blaze has chased tens of thousands from their homes, with thousands more having their bags packed. They're set to go. The blaze has closed parts of US 395. A half dozen people have been injured by the fire that investigators say was human-caused. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures so far have been in the red. The Dow futures are down about 9 points, while the NASDAQ futures are off 152 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
British Prime Minister Burnham is among European leaders meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky in Kiev.
Mr. Burnham will attend Ukraine's Independence Day celebrations and chair his first meeting of the Coalition of the Willing, the partnership of more than 35 nations backing Ukraine. He'll meet President Zelensky almost a month on from their first meeting in Portsmouth. Mr. Burnham will say he wants the Ukrainian people to hear directly from him that British support will not waver as long as it takes, and that Russia's threats against the UK will only strengthen that resolve. He'll announce the release of classified information enabling Ukraine to produce its own version of the Storm Shadow or Scalp long-range cruise missile, which was designed jointly with France.
The BBC's Dan Johnson. Will Iceland join the European Union? Decision dividing the nation. Supporters believe EU membership offers protection and economic benefits. Opponents argue that Iceland already enjoys European integration without losing control of its resources. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Trump administration unveils a plan aimed at lowering prices at the gas pump.
Beginning September the 1st, the EPA will temporarily allow E10 gasoline to be sold with a higher vapor pressure limit, effectively ending federal summer blend restrictions early. Officials say the move could add hundreds of thousands of barrels of gasoline per day. The waiver runs through September 15th and may override stricter rules in California, Texas, and Arizona for up to 20 additional days. Mary Rose reporting.
Tropical storm Moke is passing south of Hawaii's Big Island, close enough to dump a foot or more of rain on communities still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Lala. The real impact is expected from rainfall in areas where last weekend's hurricane flooded communities, causing mudslides and washing out many roads. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
I spent my career building a business, but I couldn't stand by while Washington spent money it didn't have. So I got in the fight, and I never forgot who elected me. This election is about the America we pass on to your family and mine. We inherited freedom. Now it's our turn to defend it, to strengthen it, and to leave America stronger than we found it. You shouldn't have to guess where your next senator stands. With me, you already know. I'm Ralph Norman, and I approve this message.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
People are out there saying, the Iranians are never going to live by it. But let me tell you something. President Trump is going to bomb them again if they screw around.
Hopefully they live up to it. And if not, the pounding's coming. We're going to do it again and again and again.
The Cats and Cosby Show, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Trump is the toughest president we ever had.
Well, he's definitely the best bomber.
August 17th. Big changes are coming to the John Fredericks Media Network. John Fredericks, your Godzilla of Truth, starts the day from 6 to 10. Wendy Bell follows from 10 to noon. Rob Carson staying put at noon to 3. Michael Patrick Leahy moves to 3 o'clock, followed by Cats and Cosby at 5. America's new boss for conservative talk is the John Fredericks Media Network.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes for more than a decade. This is the world past the wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high-leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
Saturday morning, 6 on the radio, 11 on JFMN.TV.
Well, happy Monday morning, everybody. This is the John Fredericks Media Network. I'm Dan Hopgood. Time for a look at, among other things, weather and sports. We'll start, as we always do, with where I am in the capital of the South, Richmond, Virginia. High today there of 87, a low tonight of 60. Right now, the temperature in the River City, 62 degrees. Squirrels take 2 out of 3 over the weekend at Chesapeake. Moving on to D.C., the high there will be 83 degrees today, a low tonight of 59. Right now, the temperature in Washington, 64 degrees. The Marlins sweep the Nats over the weekend in Miami. Next up for the Nats, hosting the Rockies. First pitch, 6:45 p.m. tonight. Commanders fall to the Lions in Detroit in preseason football, 17-13. In Atlanta, your high today will be 90 degrees with a low of 68 tonight. Right now, the temperature in Georgia, 72 degrees. The Braves dropped 2 of 3 to the Brewers over the weekend in Milwaukee. And the Falcons win at the Colts. Big, 34-6. In Nashville, your high today is going to be 88, a low tonight of 64. Right now, the temperature in Middle Tennessee, 63 degrees. The Titans win 19-13 over the defending champ Seahawks in preseason action last night. Although, caveat here, with the starters on the field, Seattle did jump out to a 13-3 lead. In Philadelphia, your high today is going to be 81, a low tonight of 64. Temperature also 64 degrees in eastern Pennsylvania right now. The Phils sweep the Cards over the weekend. They are at the Mariners next, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. Eagles fall to the Patriots 24-21 in preseason football. In Morgantown, you're looking at a high today of 75, a low of 55. Right now, the temperature is 61 degrees in wild and wonderful West Virginia. I want to go to there. Not bad, Larry. And last but not least, certainly not in my heart, Pittsburgh. Well, wasn't a good weekend for you sports fans out there in Pittsburgh. Dodgers sweep the Buccos, and the Steelers lost to the Jets in preseason NFL action 17-0. Though I will say, Drew Aller continued to show some flashes at least of brilliance. If it's any consolation, today's weather is going to be really nice. A high today of 73, a low of 59 tonight. Right now, the temperature in the Steel City, 57 degrees. Enes Kanter ejected from a Fever Sky WNBA game over the weekend after a verbal clash with Natasha Cloud. Meanwhile, Kyle Kirkwood is your winner at the Freedom 250 in D.C. I don't know if you watched yesterday, folks, but it looked spectacular. What a spectacle to see in the nation's capital. D.C. looked great. I know JF was really happy about that. Bringing you today's Weather and Sports Update is the Godzilla Wins radio show. For the best insight, analysis, and picks, watch and listen to Godzilla Wins Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Plus, to get John's daily sports picks, go to GodzillaWins.com. Once again, that's GodzillaWins.com. Okay, folks, get those active minds ready for a few words to the wise. For the last time, the way around, for the first time last week, not that I'm going to make a habit out of it, I made mention of my former colleagues in our venture entitled Life Logic Company. Well, after the terrorist attacks against this country almost 25 years ago to the day now, the company became singular in its focus to identify and market the concept of political freedom through a guidebook thereabout. Alas, we never got there, despite draft after draft after draft after draft. We were trying to combine philosophic astuteness with commercial appeal. The aforementioned Craig Biddle was the philosophy advisor, the aforementioned Sidney Gunst, the salesman, and I was the principal writer. Well, if we were fortunate enough to get the green light from Craig on a draft, Sid would say that it wasn't something that he could sell. And if Sid liked a draft for its marketability, Craig inevitably told us that the philosophy was problematic. Less than half my current age now, and that's depressing, I wasn't knowledgeable enough at the time to solve the puzzle, to crack the code. Amid the economic collapse a generation ago, Life Logic Company closed operations in 2008. Dedicated to its mission, though, I never stopped working to deliver a finished, usable manuscript. And about a decade ago, a brainstorm enabled me to produce something that I was very pleased with and proud of. One of the most satisfying moments of my life was getting to show the work to Sid before his death. He agreed that it was good, though I'm sure he was thinking, where was this 10 years ago, Dan? Anyway, we've talked some here in the Dan Hobgood Report about the idea of freedom, but really, for the most part, only by implication/extension and not overtly. I did offer a definition thereof when we covered the Constitution's preamble. The social condition that would result if nobody stopped anybody else from acting in favor of his judgment. And I hope that acceptance of this definition has been well earned via these reports. Additionally, here are some other tidbits that somebody would learn from my Curious About Freedom guidebook. Number 1, as we've inferred objectively here, freedom is a noble goal. Individuals, autonomous beings in a state of nature, worthy of self-governance, shouldn't stop one another from acting in favor of their own judgment unto themselves. 2, while a noble goal, freedom has never existed anywhere and surely never 100% will. A society that fully sanctifies freedom by law is an inherently risky, dangerous one. And at least accidentally, trespasses against others are bound to happen. Still, the way that we get as close as possible to a state of freedom is by sanctifying it legally and policing society to that end. 3. Importantly, freedom does not describe an environment in which people can do whatever they want. Freedom and anarchy are not synonymous. My rights end at your nose, and vice versa. 4. Freedom does not preclude, quote-unquote, hurting others per se, however. Coke is trying to hurt Pepsi's bottom line by selling more soda. Something similar can be said about Walmart, Target, and Amazon as competitors, or the Steelers and Ravens for that matter. And if interpersonally somebody with/to whom you are related is being inconsiderate, you have the right, under freedom, to refuse to deal with that person any longer. Last, what stops a person from acting in favor of his judgment are force and fraud. These actions specifically are what undermine freedom and are banned in a would-be free society. Tina Turner doesn't have an enforceable right to demand that Ike be kind to her. She does have an enforceable right not to be punched in the face and to demand that Ike leave her alone, so on and so forth. Okay, so I hope that this settles or prevents some confusion about what is a bona fide benevolent objective. No Hobgood report for at least the next couple of days as I'm on assignment with JF, but I hope to get in a couple at the end of the week here about 2 major political changes that ultimately need to happen if we are to abide by our pro-rights, pro-freedom letter of the law. In the meantime, you can catch up on these reports by going to the John Fredericks Media Network socials or by following me on Facebook. All of the Dan Hobgood reports are located there in reverse chronological order. Until next time, whenever that might be, this has been Dan Hobgood for the John Fredericks Media Network. Outside the Box with the Ox is next, followed by The John Fredericks Show. Stay tuned, everyone.
Lisa Damuth, 179,683 votes. Mike Lindell, 134,282 votes. Canvass Tuesday, challenged for a recount Wednesday. Lisa Damuth advancing to the Minnesota gubernatorial general election ballot happened with a 45,000 vote discrepancy, 11 percentage points difference. If an election's close, Minnesota's laws allow a recount at the public's expense, like within 0.25%. This one ain't that. Yet the poster child for claiming inaccurate and untrustworthy vote counting is nothing if he's not consistent, saying he's willing to pay himself the nearly $1 million estimated price tag. It's a stretch to think he'll win in the end, but what a great real-world opportunity for Lindell to finally be able to prove to the world that he's been right all along about voting machines and election fraud. If the numbers come back the same as election night, well, kinda would throw a final wet blanket on his claims about everything all along, right? We'll see. Then there's the element of it being a Republican-only vote, so the blame the Democrats mantra wouldn't really factor in. Or one could argue that it's a 3-term Democrat Secretary of State running Minnesota's elections, so maybe he can still blame the Democrats.
Don't believe them. Don't trust them.
Lindell has a mind of his own, so it's anyone's guess what he'll really do. But this is Minnesota. If the machines can't be trusted, if the election was rigged by the Democrats, if all of Lindell's assertions are true, thinking outside the box, the Democrats would have had him win. Here outside the box with the Ox in the Eastern Time Zone and now in West Virginia on the John Fredericks Media Network.
John Fredericks.
It is the most egregious thing I've seen in a lifetime.
President Trump.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
When politics start getting wild,
they want to have every single thing that you don't want. Raise taxes, men and women's sports. They're going to open up their border.
Trump hit
you up.
Right now, download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play and get the entire Mountaineer sports world in the palm of your hand. Right now, get notified when new stories drop about your favorite Mountaineers teams and athletes. Download the WV Sports Nation app right now. Get updates on next level Mountaineers like Weatherholt and Joe Mazzulla. All that and more right in your pocket right now. Download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app right now.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who loves the smell of napalm in the morning, John Fredericks.
Well, there's nothing I love more than Mondays. Happy Monday. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network and all the John Fredericks radio apps. And we got a little bit of an internet glitch here. We'll fix that in a couple of minutes. Mike, we'll just reboot. Dan, I'm sorry, and we're good to go. Great to have you with us. As always, phone lines are always open because this show is for you. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. I'll get this fixed, Dan, in a minute. Sometimes you just get a little glitch there. You just got to reboot. You're good to go. We're a little bit lagging here, Dan. So let's get through it. Good to have you. Hope everybody had a super MAGA weekend. It's MAGA Monday. And let's just start with the Indy 500 yesterday right in downtown Washington, D.C. This thing was so amazing, folks. I can't even begin to tell you how impressed I was. It was so much fun. Ann and I went on Saturday. We didn't go Sunday, but we did go Saturday and spent the day there and got to see the Legends NASCAR. We got to see some of the trials for the Indy races as they were testing going around. But it was just absolutely fantastic. We had such a great time. The whole thing was marvelous. And you know, one of the best things about it was the safety, the cleanliness. It was easy in, it was easy out. Even on Sunday, people were just telling me how much fun they had, how awesome it was. I mean, from our window, you could see the cars going around, you know, just one little piece of the track there. And it was so much fun. And it was amazing what this president has done. And anybody that goes there has got to be impressed with how clean the city is, how beautiful it is, and how safe it is. And the metro was packed. Everything was clean. There were National Guardsmen. There were police. It was just perfect. And, you know, one of the most amazing things was I got to see it on Fox yesterday. And Fox was doing the panoramas like over the Capitol. And, I mean, you just have to be so proud of your Capitol, what President Trump has done. And I just don't understand, to the life of me, why this is not being celebrated by everybody. I mean, I don't care if you got Trump derangement syndrome or not. If you live in DC, your city is tremendously better than it was. It's not even close. And we're going to get 10 up here in a second with Todd Blanche. But as you looked at that, I don't care if you're a Democrat or, except if you got Trump derangement syndrome, then you just want to live in filth and squalor, I guess, and have people, you know, dropping their pants and taking a dump on the sidewalk. I don't know what your problem is, but I decided after Sunday, these are sick people. I mean, anybody that could not be proud of what was done in Washington, D.C., and how proud you have to be of that whole thing yesterday. It was so amazing what you saw. Unbelievable. And our city is so clean and it's so beautiful and it's so much better than it was. And there's so a reduction in crime. And what Trump did was amazing. I mean, the fight was one thing, the fireworks. This Indy 500 was brilliantly conceived. It was fun watching the beasts go around. It was just fun. It was fun. It was enjoyable. And when you went into the grounds for the mall, they had so many things set up for kids. They had the beanbag tosses. They had all kinds of bigger Lego things there. I mean, kids were running around. The food was great. Look, a little expensive, but they got to bring everything in. I get it. I think we had the barbecue twice, both times. Fantastic. Hamburgers were great. I mean, everything there was so great. There was beer, and we just had such a good time. Anybody that went there had to have a great time. It was just a wonderful event, beautiful for the city. You had to be proud of your capital yesterday. And you had to be proud. This was done by President Trump. This was conceived by Trump, done by Trump, cleaned up by Trump. There's no taxpayer money involved. It was all privately funded. And it was just gorgeous. And it shows you if you have will determination, conviction, and courage what you can do in a major city. You can turn it around. But these libtards want to live in filth and crime and squalor. That's what they want to live in. I don't get it because they don't really live there. See, they live in their gated communities in Northern Virginia where they got, mask tards and double masks. And, they go to their HOA and they have their wine and cheese and caviar in their gated communities with guards. And then they come to DC with double masks on. I call them the mask tards. And they bang pots and pans protesting against the National Guard that has nothing to do with them because they have their own guards in their own gated communities. This is what is so, it's beyond, it's intellectually corrupt what is going on. What is wrong with these people? I mean, why wouldn't you want to live in this beautiful city? I mean, I'm telling you, I told, we had a couple dinners last night with obviously friends of ours came in for the 500. So we had dinner Friday, dinner Saturday with the couples we know from baseball and other things from Maryland baseball. And they were just so impressed with the city. I mean, one guy said, look, I haven't been here in 4 years. Like I drove in Saturday morning. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And that's basically how beautiful this thing is. It's so gorgeous. And why anybody would not be like saying to themselves, how do I get this in my city? So I told Ann again on Saturday night, I mean, we want to eventually, go to Florida, retire. Obviously, you can't do this forever. I'm 68, but good luck getting me out of here. I mean, if a Republican wins again in 28, it's good luck getting me out. I mean, we take the metro everywhere. I can't remember the last time I drove. I guess I drove to West Virginia or something. I don't even remember. I don't even know why we have a car. I guess we have to have it for obvious reasons, but pay for the parking. Car's paid off, but whatever. I don't drive anywhere. I take the metro or I take a bus. I never drive. Got season tickets to the Caps, 7 minutes away. I mean, the hockey game is 7 minutes. The hell are you going to get this, right? Doesn't matter what you do. Go to a concert, 15 minutes, and safe and beautiful. And the park, look, we got, still people in the park doing stuff, but the parks are so much better. Everything is that grass is cut. Like Trump says, grass is living, breathing things. If you look at what President Trump has done in Washington, D.C., how you couldn't watch this on Fox News yesterday or whatever channel it was on, Fox Sports or whatever, how you couldn't watch this, see how beautiful it is, see how gorgeous our city is, and not be proud. I mean, instead, the mastards and the TDSers and the libtards are miserable over it. I mean, they saw this yesterday. It was like putting a crucifix in front of Dracula. I mean, they were just beside themselves at how gorgeous it was, and they have to trash it. Say, well, you shouldn't be doing this one. People can't afford gas. Well, gas was $5 under Biden, you moron. Well, you really should be focused on doing this in Washington, D.C. when prices are high. Well, prices were high under Biden. Inflation went up 10%, morons. So Trump is trying to get it down. Well, you shouldn't be doing this when you're having a war. What? Life stops? I mean, what is wrong with these people? They are sick. These are sick people. They're sick. And that's why I say we'll never build a country back together. But if Republican wins here again in 28, Rubio or Vance, whoever that may be, there's no way I could retire here. I mean, maybe have a second place in Florida, but why would you leave? It's so gorgeous and so much fun to be in Washington, D.C. since President Trump has cleaned it up. And look what he's done. He's done this in 18 months. 18 months he's done this. Imagine what he's going to do in 4 years, right? And if the communists come in, the new mayor that's coming in, she has no opposition, Janice Lewis George, and these super commies come in the council and they try to unravel this, Trump is going to pull home rule so fast your head will spin. You'll be like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. It'll be going around. I mean, he's going to pull this thing. There is no way we're going back. And so he'll pull it. Now, obviously, if we lose the House and, then it's a different story. Then he's just going to have to deal with it. Then it's just going to be an everyday fight. All they're going to do is fight him. They're going to fight the National Guard. They're going to fight the cops. They're going to fight cleanliness. They're going to fight beautification. They're going to fight getting rid of graffiti. All they're going to do is fight it because their world is filth and swamp. Every blue city is crime-ridden, crap hole, filthy, rats, garbage. That's how they will. That's how they want you to live. They don't want what you have here in D.C. because if you see it and you like it, you might want it in their blue, corrupt, disgusting city like Philadelphia, 3 hours away. Or 2 hours away. Disgusting. The whole thing's gross. John Fredericks Media Network, truck the truth across America. Let's reboot, Nan. Stay with us.
Ponder this. Why would God permit evil to occur? Why does he allow bad things to happen to good people? Why doesn't he intercede when innocent people are unjustly accused? These questions sometimes cause good people to turn their face away from God and question the very existence of God. But God does exist, and he does permit evil. Why, you ask? The short answer is that God permits evil to bring about a greater good. Think about this. The greatest evil ever committed is the killing of our God, Jesus Christ, the second person of the Holy Trinity. From this great evil came the greatest good, the opening of the gates of heaven. That's right, heaven did not open until Christ shed his blood for us. We must always trust God's plan for our salvation, especially when hard times fall upon us. Pray, trust, and persevere in good times and bad. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Soul Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Soul Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Soul Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98. Queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Luxpier's 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Trying to get our two boys ready to carry them to the golf tournament for practice, right? 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke, so you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, what are you doing in here, little kitty cat? By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, what's going on? I said, there's a cat in the house. Cat in the house? I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house. So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
And you're on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the truth in America, your oracle of the deplorables. Hey, thanks for being with us. I tell you what, Monday, I'm up, I'm fired up. Dan and I going to Charlotte. Flying to Charlotte today. We're going to be in Rock Hill, South Carolina on Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday night, special edition, we'll be covering the Ralph Norman, Darlene Graham special election in South Carolina. Don't want to miss that. We'll be live at his headquarters on Wednesday, but it's good on Tuesday night, but it's good to have you here with us. As always, Hobgood's going to be traveling with me. So, Dan, looking forward to it. But here it is Monday. Happy MAGA Monday. And I got a great night's sleep last night. Went to bed about 9. Got up at 3:45, 6 hours and 45 minutes. But I tell you what, my sleep was awesome. The whole thing is got to be awesome. Awesome. Now, how do I have this? Because I do my REM sleep, which is absolutely fantastic. Got my REM sleep going. And I take this right before I go to bed. This is the best thing that you could do for your sleep. It's absolutely fantastic. All you got to do is go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com, and put in promo code Godzilla, get 20% off your first order. Get your REM sleep and get it today. Okay, got more tech issues. Dan, why don't we get to, while we're trying to figure this out, let's get to, I think this was cut 10. Let's get to Todd Blanche saying, why aren't people thankful about what is going on here?
To our nation's capital last August. Attorney General Todd Blanche joins us now. So great to have you with us this morning. Yeah, so it's really been one of the worst things to watch over the past couple of decades. Security here in the United States Capitol. People getting mugged. You couldn't walk down the street at night. And President Trump deployed the National Guard. We're seeing enormous improvements in every single category of crime. Democrats are so triggered about the success that this has had. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but they're triggered at the same time they're going out to dinner again in D.C. and enjoying their family, can go out to the parks. We're talking about over 16,000 arrests with dozens of children being returned who were missing, dozens of alleged murders being arrested, and a city that is transformed not only in safety but in beauty. And you can't get a Democrat to say thank you. But it's not why we're doing it. And I think what you're seeing today, a celebration of America's 250th birthday. You saw it July 4th. You've seen it with the Great Fair on the Mall. And it's going off without any major security incidents. And we're going to make sure that stays the case. And that's the goal.
Do you know where you're getting thank you? On TikTok. I go on TikTok and I see all.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. I mean, it hasn't really settled in yet, right? Like, I won the race. I get out of the car. I see President Trump sitting there cheering me on. As a proud American, that's a pretty big deal to have the president cheering you on. Nothing else like it, right? But that.
This is so good. Well, I don't know what's going on with the internet, Dan, but I tried rebooting. It's just not going to work. So it is what it is. We'll get through the day like we always do. But that was pretty amazing to me. You saw Todd Blanche basically saying a simple thank you would be nice because we have revitalized the city to such an amazing degree. So you could just say thank you. But of course they don't do that because they're scum and they got TDS. But like Todd Blanche said, they're enjoying the beauty of the city. They're taking their family to dinner. They're going to the park, but yet they still want to blast Trump about what he's done here. So they're hypocrites. They talk out of the both sides of the mouth, and it's basically the biggest clown show in history. So that is what's going on with the Democrats. It was great to see the winner of the Indy 500 that you saw that clip saying, "Hey, you know what? I win a race and get congratulated by the president, and he's there watching me." And he said, "That's pretty cool, once in a lifetime experience." So that was a joy. So many people there having fun. But of course, the Democrats don't want you to have fun. They want you to be a miserable wretch living in filth and squalor. I mean, with garbage piling up. That's the America they want for you. It's just sick. How these people are going to win in November is beyond me. That's why I think we're going to win. Nobody's going to vote for this. I don't care what the polls, all the polls are fake. We've already exposed them. They're all nonsense. Now, Larry Sabato has now come out and he's changed 14 races from toss-up to lean Dem. Oh my God, shiver me timbers. The old man from University of Virginia has spoken with his crystal ball. Screw you, you old relic piece of garbage. Take your stupid toupee, shove it up your ass. You're full of crap. You're part of the whole fake poll narrative thing. Larry Sabato just moved 14 raised. The Republicans are cooked. Trump's approval rating, 19%, 10%, 0, minus. I mean, stop. It's all garbage, okay? And this is all you're going to get. So you just, you brace yourself for it and you laugh because it's so stupid. It's now laughable. Let's get to Greg in Georgia calling in about the Freedom 250 race. Greg, you're live. Go.
Hey, John. Yeah, nothing is more Americana than gas, 110 octane gas guzzling race cars with open headers doing Mach 10 around Washington, D.C. I mean, Trump knows how to have fun. He knows how to have a blast. He loves beautiful, vivacious women. I don't think he likes little girls. I've never seen him with a young girl. And all these Democrats saying that are just doing projection. Bill Gates is the one that likes little girls with braces on their teeth. But
where are you going with this? Greg,
Trump.
I'm about to cut you off. Say something interesting.
Okay? Well,
I'll give you 5 seconds.
So,
say something interesting.
Okay. Trump loves beautification. He loves, beautifying Washington, D.C. And in the past, when Obama was president, do you think he cared that none of the fountains worked, that all the grass was dying, that all the statues were dilapidated?
No, quite frankly,
he
didn't give a rat's ass. He didn't care. So, you know what? If you don't care, he didn't care. Okay, Trump cares about the nation's capital. He cares about the city that I live in. This is my home with my family. So, you're really touching the edge here. If you want to live in a city with filth and squalor and crime, you know what? It's a free country. I live in what is now the most beautiful, cleanest, safest city in America. President Trump did that. I don't care whether you're liberal, conservative, mask-tard. I don't really care what you are. These are just the facts. Okay, when I got here in November of 2024, after his victory, when Biden was still president, this place was the biggest crap hole in the country. It was disgusting. You couldn't go on the metro with your wife. You couldn't walk to dinner. You had tents all over the parks. There were people that would actually, I saw this, drop their drawers, take a dump on the sidewalk, pull them up and walk away. This is what we lived in. Rats all over the place, garbage piled up, boarded up windows, graffiti. That was what we lived in when I first got here. And I was here 2017 to 2021 before Biden got here, and it was bad, but not that bad. Then COVID came, and then it was like fires, riots, tires burning. He has cleaned this city up. And you know what? If you don't like it, well, then go move to Philadelphia, where you can't walk a block without taking your life in your hands in a disgusting, filthy city. Your choice, dude. Go to Atlanta. Same thing. Garbage all over the place. City is disgusting. If that's where you want to live, have at it. I don't care. Here's what I care about. This is my home. Okay? Well, John, you've only been there 2 years. I don't care. It's my home. I've lived in a lot of places. This is my adoptive home. And I love my city. And I love what Trump has done to it. And yeah, there was gas guzzling. It's the Indy 500. See, this is why the liberals are just unbelievable. Well, then cancel the Indy 500. Cancel NASCAR. Cancel football. Just live in misery. That's what you guys want. Go do it. Well, they're gas guzzlers. Well, it was either here or somewhere else. These are Indy 500 races. It's a sport. Just like NASCAR is a sport. People go to NASCAR. They're gas guzzlers too. What the hell are you talking about? You know what? This is the libtard mentality. Trump sucks. Doesn't matter what he does. He sucks. There's gas guzzlers, right? He likes beautiful women. Okay? Him and what other like what? Trump loves beautiful women. Well, he married one. Been married three times. All of them drop dead gorgeous. Good for him. Tell I care. I'm married to a beautiful turtles. I'm married to a beautiful woman too. The hell's that make me? Lucky, idiot. These people that call up, like, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you hate your life that much that you can't even enjoy what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C.? You can't even enjoy that great race right around the middle of town, right? We had 100,000 people here. Kids were laughing. All these kids were here. You can't enjoy that for one day? No, you can't do it. You can't do it because you want to live in filth. You want to live in hate. You want to live in misery. And you want everybody else to be miserable like you. Well, guess what? We're not miserable. We're happy. And that's why we're going to win. And so whatever, dude. Adrian in Richmond, Virginia. Go ahead, Adrian.
Hey, John. Good morning, brother. Hey, didn't see the race, but I'm glad you got a chance to. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Sounds like it was a blast. I'm not a race car guy, but I hear you on what this guy's saying. But I was calling, the luxury of being a Latino and being on the camouflage of having a tan all year long, and you go to a party full of Latinos, you get to hear things you normally don't hear because they think you're on the same team. And, it's interesting. I don't hold it against them. I love my neighbor. I love people. It's just, interesting. But I wanted to share something with you guys. And I was, celebrating somebody's 50-year birthday. It was a blast, 45, 55-plus people. It was pretty big shindig. And we got to talking about citizenship and how some of these folks were becoming citizens and all that. And just so people understand, and, I put a damper on things, but again, them thinking I'm on the same team, very open about what they're saying and such. And they were saying such things like, it's funny when you got to put your hand on the Constitution and swear and say you take an oath. Who cares? We just say that to become citizens. And I sat there and I heard that, and my head wanted to snap over and look at that gentleman and kind of give him a little piece of my mind, but it wasn't the place, and it wasn't my place to inject myself and cause a scene and such. But that was one or two or three of the stories that I heard of these folks that are, quote, unquote, becoming American citizens. And they mocked it. They go, all you got to do is say you pledge allegiance to the America and you're a citizen pretty much, follow some rules. Basically, I'm saying these guys don't care. These people are in my face, telling me the truth, being open about how they really feel when they become a citizen. Their loyalty was to Mexico. They were talking about how they're still proud. Mexico flags are flying everywhere, celebrating this birthday party. And, I didn't expect that much, I just expect to have a good time, but just, I accidentally walked into this conversation and just found it very interesting, and I just wanted to share that with you. You could take it how you want, And you can comment how you want or think about it, but the truth is, that's just from the horse's mouth. That's direct from people who come to this country, become citizens, but yet still hate this country. Why do they come here then? I don't know. Take advantage of benefits, maybe get work. I don't know. I don't care anymore. But I wanted you to know that ran deep for me when hearing that. And it just made me sick to my stomach knowing that these folks come to our country and take advantage and still hate our country. The privilege, talk about privilege, that you're supposed to have and such, and then mocking the white man as and I'm just laughing. I'm like, why do you come here then? If they only knew, and I mean, I'm no better or worse than them, and I'm no better or worse than any Republican or Democrat, but it just made me really come to a realization of what we're really battling. And I just wanted to share that with the audience, and share that with you, and let you know what's really going on in this world. With these folks coming over, they're not your friends. I've been telling you that for 10, 15 years now, John. 15 years, probably 16 years. I've been telling you these folks are not your friends. They don't want to be your friends. Like I said, I just have the luxury of sometimes running into these conversations because of, being a quote Latino, and such, just because I'm able to speak, write, and read Spanish, and communicate. I get inside scoop on some of these things, and I could tell you a lot more stories, one day. But I just want to thank you for the time. I appreciate you letting me share that, and I like the audience to really let that sink in.
Thank you, Adrian. That's one of the problems is there was a time when people came to this country because they wanted to participate in the American dream. They wanted to be part of this great free country that God put between two massive oceans in order to be the bastion of freedom for the world. And things have changed. Now they come for other reasons and they don't care. And you get these people coming from Muslim countries, don't even put their hand in the Bible. You got this Hassan Piker, basically said in one of his shows, he'd like to take the Constitution and wipe his ass with it. His words, not mine. And then he's going around campaigning with half the Senate candidates. So this is where the Democrat Party's gone. And I just don't think they're going to win. I don't care what Larry Sabato, you old relic, says. I don't care what any of them say. They're all fake. Nobody's good. People, a majority of Americans are not ready to take the Constitution and flush it down the toilet. And as Hassan Piker says, wipe my butt with it. Just don't think we're there. Hopefully we'll never be there. But what you saw Sunday, it was like the caller Greg. I mean, trying to find something negative in this, right? Something negative about Trump. Well, what is the negative? Well, they're gas guzzlers. Well, it's called Indy 500. I mean, it's a sport. Why don't you ban that? I guess if the mastards take control, they'll ban NASCAR, they'll ban Indy, they'll ban drag racing, they'll ban, they'll ban, motorcycle racing. Stop, okay? What is your problem? Why do you hate life? That's really what this is. The TDS people, they just hate their life. Their life must really suck. Like, I got a great life. I got a great wife. I got a great family. I love my kids. I love my cat. I love my family. I love Washington, D.C. I love my audience. I love what I do. I love my employees. We're a family. It's fun. We're going to South Carolina today for my friend Ralph Norman. I love my life. What I have remaining of it. Made my share of mistakes. Lucky I'm here. Hadn't been for Ann, I'd be dead. So I get up every day. It's like, another day, borrowed time. House money, baby. Let's go. I mean, that's the way it's the way I look at it because it's real. So the misery, like watching this thing on TV yesterday and then being miserable over it. Like, what are you miserable? Like, why could this make you miserable? I just don't get it. A couple minutes. Let's go to Johnny in Jersey. John, you're live.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Yo.
I'm sitting here listening, and I just had to call in. So you're looking for answers. You have to understand it's very simple. Okay, so what does the Democratic Party want to do? They're communist. They want a communist takeover of our country. Do you think you can accomplish that with a happy family, with a good-paying job, with law and order, with beautification of cities? So the bottom line is, this is a feature of the psychological end of what they're planning to do. They need misery. They need you to be miserable. They can't have you be happy for a second. And the moment you feel joy, they want to crush that joy through, and they work a lot on our Christian values, stuff like that, through guilt, things of that nature. So this is all this is a part of what they're doing psychologically to the populace. So the bottom line is this is part of the Democratic Party. They have to make you miserable in order for you to want to end this society so they can have their, so-called utopia society, which is filth, squalor. And the bottom line is the typical Democrat is so propagandized, so polluted and mentally ill. Like that gentleman that called before, these people come here, they're coming from third world countries, whatever the case may be. They see you and your happy life, and they want that. So a lot of this stuff is stoked in hate and resentment and jealousy. So, and that's the bottom line. That's the main feature of the Democratic voter. That's why they hate themselves. They hate themselves. It's like the kid that ran the race in high school that was faster than you, got the pretty girls, and you just looked at them and you were like, oh, I really hate that guy. The bottom line is that's how they look at Trump. That's how they look at Trumpism. It's just a part of the Democratic Party. They need you miserable. So that's as simple as it gets. There's no coming together on this.
Now this guy's mad because he married a beautiful woman. That's the new thing. It's like, okay, the guy I'm talking to at the other end of this call, John, married a beautiful woman, Michelle. What is that? Is that bad, John? What does that make you, John?
Listen, it's called the American dream.
It's called
it's called the American
John
dream.
and I marry beautiful women. Like, okay, yay. I mean, it's like a good thing. We lucked out. I'm sorry if you're married to some, not so good-looking type person. I mean, not my problem, right? That's your choice. I mean, Trump married beautiful women. Yeah, all three of them were beautiful. So, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, you
take a
can't
look
make
at
this
these,
stuff up, dude. Dude, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's like now he married a beautiful woman. He likes women that are voluptuous. Okay. What has that got to do with anything? Oh my God. Trump derangement syndrome. Johnny, I gotta go before I start.
This is WJFN Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFV Portsmouth, part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The conflict with Iran is entering a new phase as the U.S. imposes stringent economic sanctions on the Islamic Republic, which continues spewing out threats. Treasury Secretary Bessent says Washington is committed to severing every single economic lifeline that has sustained the radical Iranian regime for all these decades. Just the threat of sanctions already causing Iran's currency to plunge to a record low. Following the collapse of U.S.-Canada trade talks over the weekend, a 50% tariff on $20 billion worth of Canadian imports has taken effect. Ottawa vows retaliation. 15,000 acres charred, tens of thousands forced from their homes in Reno, Nevada. The Hawk Fire continues burning amid bone-dry conditions. How's the economy faring? We'll find out more this week.
Consumer confidence data arrived Tuesday, with economists expecting another decline. On Wednesday, the government releases its preferred inflation gauge, the PCE report. It has found inflation above the Federal Reserve's 2% target. The Fed is widely expected to hold interest rates steady in September, while President Trump and Republicans focus on restoring energy stability and protecting household budgets. Ken Lorman reporting.
It was loud and it was fast. The IndyCar Freedom 250 race through the streets of downtown Washington, D.C. over the weekend.
Kyle Kirkwood captured the Freedom 250, earning his second IndyCar win of the season in front of the U.S. Capitol. President Donald Trump waved the green flag, adding a patriotic moment to the celebration. Kirkwood led 128 of 147 laps and finished more than 3 seconds ahead of Christian Lundgaard. Alex Palou placed 20th. John Scott reporting.
And on Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures down 68 points. NASDAQ futures off 200 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, y'all, I'm Willie Robertson.
And I'm Corey Robertson.
We partnered with Echo. It's a new platform, not just streaming.
Movies and series that are safe for your family. I love a podcast.
Plus, Echo Daily Devotionals.
Echo. Hey, Willie, what is Echo?
Echo is my pet squirrel. Okay, now, Echo is not just faith-friendly, it is faith-driven.
Be a part of something better.
Echo.
Echo.
That's where I want to be.
That's EKKL.com.
Subscribe now.
Maybe this is you too. There is enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It's amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven. And yeah, you could save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Here's the number. They're easy to talk to. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham has arrived in Kiev for talks with Ukrainian President Zelensky and other international leaders.
The visit comes as Ukraine marks Independence Day and is Burnham's first overseas trip since taking office. Other European leaders also arrived in the capital, including European Council President Antonio Costa. Burnham is expected to announce the UK government has agreed to allow a defence company to release classified information relating to British components used in the Scalp long-range missile. This would pave the way for France and Ukraine to advance plans for local production of the weapon in Ukraine. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Military officials from Uganda and Burundi have visited Israel to discuss deploying troops to Gaza. They would be part of an international stabilization force for the Palestinian territory envisioned by President Trump's Board of Peace. Uganda's parliament approved the troop contribution this month. Burundi has not commented publicly. News and analysis, townhall.com. 4 states still have primaries upcoming next month.
Primary season is still in full swing, with voters in 4 states gearing up to vote in September. Massachusetts will hold its primary on Tuesday, September 1st. The following week after Labor Day, on Tuesday, September 8th, New Hampshire voters will head to the polls. Then Wednesday, September 9th, Rhode Island holds its primary contests. And last but not least, Delaware will hold its primary on Tuesday, September 15th.
Correspondent Laura Winters. Growing number of colleges offering 3-year degree programs, cutting a year off the traditional bachelor's with reduced credit. Advocates say it's a solution to the college affordability crisis. Critics, though, worry that they will narrow what students learn too much, confuse employers, limit graduate school options, and will also create headaches in fields that require licenses at the state level. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
The establishment has already picked their candidate. Same old playbook, same old insiders. I'm not their choice. And this election is not for sale. The stakes are too high for political games. The Socialist Democrats are a threat to America. South Carolina needs a proven conservative with a record of fighting for you. You shouldn't have to guess where your next senator stands. With me, you already know. I'm Ralph Norman. I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98, queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's the John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who never has a failure to communicate, John Fredericks.
Let's rock and roll. Great to have you with us. I think we got finally the internet fixed here. Dan took two or three reboots, but we're rocking and rolling. Coming live in Washington, D.C. Great to have you with us. This is the home of the Freedom 250 miles, right? That was so much fun yesterday, and our city is so beautiful. And I love being here. I just got to say that of all the cities I've lived in, this is my adopted city. I mean, I really feel like I'm not been here 2 years. I was here 4, but, went back on the weekends. But I really feel like, this is my adopted city, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying living in D.C., and I can't wait for what else President Trump is going to do over the next 2.5 years. And we're going to have to fight the communists coming in, but it's all good because we got to fight. We're going to hold the House and then get rid of home rule like that. So fast your head will spin. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. I got to tell you, I had such a great night's sleep the last 2 nights. And sometimes I forgot to tell you, I know I told you earlier, but sleeping's the key. Once you get a good night's sleep, if you can fall in that deep sleep, like I dream like crazy because I take my REM sleep. And why this is so great, Nan, is because you down this thing. It tastes good, actually, about 15 minutes before you go to bed. And it's going to put you out, and then you sleep through the night, but you get in the dream sleep, which is the REM sleep, which is why it's called REM sleep. And you get in that fourth phase of sleep, and then you're dreaming, and that's where your body really replenishes. I had some crazy dreams last night, and you jump out of bed at 3:45. Went to bed at 9, 3:45. Jump out of bed, ready to go. Let's go, and you just feel better. So, I mean, the little things that you can do for your life that are going to make a difference in how you feel and how you operate. And I don't care how old you are. Joe Tacey's every night. He's an athlete. I just sent him another box actually over the weekend. So be sure he doesn't run out. So he's doing great. Family's doing excellent. But REM sleep is really the key. All you have to do, folks, is go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com/Godzilla. Put in promo code Godzilla, get 20% off. Try it. Just get a couple boxes and tell me if you don't feel better. You're going to go to sleep, you're going to stay asleep, and you're going to jump out of bed raring to go with your REM sleep. Now, they have other products. I take their multivitamin and their focus. So I take 3 of these a day, but I'm just asking you, if you can only afford one, that's fine. Make it the REM sleep and go from there. Promo code Godzilla, 20% off. Do it now. I know we all got a lot of other things going on, but let's roll. Let's get back. Can we get back? Dan, I sent you 2 WNBA clips. I can't get enough of this. I know I shouldn't be talking about it. We got other things going on, but I can't help myself because this league has turned into such a freaking joke. Let's play. I know you played one. You have the second one up, Dan, for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get to it here real quick.
You just can't make this stuff up. Look, we have a News Talk Sports Network. Sports is low. We got so many shows running on sports. 6 to 7 p.m. is Game on America Sports across our network. Godzilla Wins is when is Godzilla Wins, Dan? Saturday 9 to 11 a.m.
9 to 11, all across the John Fredericks Media Network.
Across the network. Very good, Dan. I like the way you say that. And then coming up Thursday before Thursday Night Football, and on Monday, we're going to have Godzilla Wins Daily, 4:30 to 5. That's a 30-minute edition talking about the games coming up for that weekend. So it's just a lot of fun. And, of course, the teams we cover, I mean, oh, my God, I can't count them all, Dan. I'm going to try to count them all, depending on the market you're in. Yankees, Pirates, Titans, Steelers were the national network for the Steelers. Capitals, Penguins, WVU, West Virginia University, Maryland University, Alabama Crimson Tide. What did I leave out? University of Virginia. I'm sure there's something I left out.
Did you say Tennessee Vols?
Tennessee Vols.
There we go.
This is a News Talk Sports Network, and we're kind of excited about it. But so just to let everybody know, if you're listening to me right now on WMLB or on AM 1690, WAMB will be renamed probably September 1st. So if you go there, you're going to just go to the JFMN stream. It'll still be there for you, but we'll redirect you over. AM 1690, our station in Atlanta, is being sold. It's a matter of public record. It is under FCC review. And right now we have engaged into a license management agreement with the company taking over that will allegedly, because it's still not done. It's not done until everything is signed, but allegedly it's going to start September 1st. And then our program there is gone. And it's gone. So whatever they have on. But you'll still be able to get us on all of our apps. And, of course, just download our TV app, jfmn.tv. But just so that everybody knows, AM 1690 is being sold. And that programming will change on September 1st. So when you get up on September 1st, you put in 1690, I'm not there. Something else is there. It's not us. So just so you know. And we'll go from there. So my camera decided to go out again, but now we're back. Kind of weird things, gremlins going on here. A lot of gremlins. All right, Dave wants in Arizona. Dave in Phoenix, you're live. Dave, go.
Happy Warrior Dittos, Godzilla. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks, bub.
So I want to make this. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. I appreciate you. I truly do. So I've been inspired over the last 12 hours to do what I tried to do in 2020. is to come up with a platform, because certainly the GOP is not going to come up with one. We need to clarify and express and shout President Trump's accomplishments over the last 18 months to give people reasons to vote for him, because the current line on Fox News, and that's FAUXNEWS, Fox News, TV for stupid people, is vote for us because we're not socialists. It just doesn't work. So I put together a list of about 15 items, and I posted it to you on Twitter. So hopefully you could look at that, and I shared with Admiral Bannon as well.
I'll take a look, and that is the purpose of the convention in Dallas. I mean, that is exactly what President Trump wants to do with that Dallas convention, which is September 9th and 10th in Dallas. We're going to be there live. We're going to be on Media Row. We're going to be there having all kinds of stuff going on. But, I mean, you nailed it. I look forward to digesting it. But that is why we're having this convention. President Trump wants to be able to go to the country, start the campaign, and say, yeah, they're crazy, but here's what we've done. Here's what we've done. And hopefully by then this Iran thing is pretty much solved. And I'm going to get into that in a minute, Dave, while you're on. Let me just find this. I have to find the clip here. This is, yes, let's get to cut 7. This is Michael Allen saying that this blockade is becoming further potent because of the sanctions that we're doing. And the sanctions really haven't been in the news because most people don't understand them. They don't understand how deep this is. So let's go there. Let's get to cut 7 and get to this blockade and how it is crippling Iran. Roll it.
Let's bring in Michael Allen, former senior director of President George W. Bush's National Security Council. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
So what do you make of the financial squeeze on the Iranian regime? Do you expect it will be effective?
I do think it will have a great effect. First of all, we have a terrific quarantine or blockade, if you will, on the Straits of Hormuz. We wish it were open. We wish it would go back to the way it was before the war. But as long as the Iranians are trying to dominate how many non-Iranian oil and gas commercial vessels get through this international passageway, we are going to continue to hold back any Iranian crude oil that's also seeking to get through. And that eventually, and it's already having a great effect, will gut the oil revenue for Iran, one of its chief pieces of revenue it gets to keep the regime going. And so this could become further potent against the regime as we try and ensure that Chinese banks and Chinese oil refineries don't take whatever Iranian crude can make it through. That will be extra devastating for the Iranians. So I'm glad that we're playing these cards.
Are you convinced more military action by the United States will be necessary to force the Iranian regime to the table for serious talks?
I think so. I think if we continue to ratchet up the pressure on them economically, it will help, but it'll need to be balanced with the effective use of military force, or at least the credible threat of military force. Military force is something we don't usually want to get involved with, but in this case, it could strengthen our hand diplomatically. So what we want to be able to do is find the most effective series of measures that we can take to try and incentivize the Iranians to come back in a serious way. Right now, I think they're cocky. They're asking for the moon. They've asked for us to leave the region, to pay them reparations. This is just sort of taunting us for now. So let's let them stew in their juices for a little while and see how their economy's going, and then figure out where we may be able to reapply some military pressure.
Michael Allen, my apologies. Our time is short. Thank you very much for your analysis.
This is what the fake news is not going to tell you. This is why you're tuned in here. This is absolutely correct. The wall of steel that is choking off Iran now, what Scott Besson is doing with these sanctions, like they can't get any money. I mean, you just eventually collapse. So it is a matter of time. I happen to agree with him. More military force is going to be needed. I'm for bombings. I'm for taking their infrastructure out. I'm for basically leveling the country like he was going to do originally. I mean, this is the only way to end this thing now. I mean, there's no diplomatic solution. They're taunting us. They're taunting the president, like Michael Allen said. Now, Trump says the strait's open and oil's getting through. And of course, the libtards are saying it's not. And they're taking the side of the IRGC, which is basically the first time in history that we've had a major political party rooting against America in a war, right? They want us to lose. I'm sure they've back-channeled. This is alleged. I'm sure they've back-channeled with the IRGC saying, hey, keep the pressure up, keep oil prices up, we'll win, and then we'll cut the funding, and so they won't be able to do anything. And so you'll eventually win the war, and we'll say that Trump lost the war, and we'll give you whatever you want because all they want is power. And so they don't care who dies or what cost it is. These people don't care. They don't care. They hate the country. They hate you. They hate everybody that is successful. They hate company. They just hate. They hate the Freedom 500. They hate the USC fight. They hate cleanliness. They just hate. These are sick people that we're dealing with. That's why there's no negotiation with any of them. The only negotiation is we win, you lose. That's it. That's my negotiation. Well, why is Jared Kushner meeting with Hakeem Jeffries? The hell do I know? I think it was the stupidest thing I ever heard. Right? Why aren't you supposed to be settling a war? Why are you meeting with Hakeem Jeffries? Right? I mean, what's the purpose of this? Well, just in case they win, we got to find ways to work together. Well, let them win and then figure it out. Don't you have something better to do with your time, dude? I'm about winning, not about losing and finding, some way to work together. You're not going to work together with these people. There's no working together. What's Jared trying to find some other real estate deal he can make? It's about the size of it. So that pissed me off. Whatever. Let's get to cut 9. The crossings are up 400% in the Strait of Hormuz over the past 2 weeks as the U.S. Navy oversees oil tankers through a safer passage. This is when Trump is saying it's open. It's open. Take a listen.
Reports indicate that vessels crossing out of the Strait of Hormuz are up 400% over the past 2 weeks. This comes as the United States Navy is overseeing other vessels in the Persian Gulf that have millions of barrels of crude oil on board through a safer passage to the south of the strait. In the backdrop, there is an ongoing U.S. naval blockade, and fresh sanctions are expected for Iran next week.
If Trump decides to take further action, our response, our retaliation, will be seismic. First, we will tell all neighboring countries and countries around the world not to join the United States in its economic war. Any country that takes part in imposing economic restrictions on us will be regarded as an enemy. Of course, we will first negotiate with them. We will hold talks and tell them to step aside and distance themselves from the United States. But if they do not act, we will strike. We will target that country's interests.
Iran's parliament speaker and top negotiator Mohammad Ghalibaf posted to X over the weekend saying we've received numerous messages from neighboring countries about shaping new security arrangements and economic cooperation in the region. The United States put the security of every single one of its allies at such risk through bullying and pure disregard for their interests for the sake of Israel. Now, while President Trump indicated that talks with Iran have stopped, he says the United States is having trouble figuring out who to deal with inside of Iran.
In fact, it's actually one of my biggest problems. I don't know who the hell to deal with. It's a problem. It's the only country in the world where nobody wants to be president. They say, who wants to be president? No, I don't want to be president. So it's a little bit of a problem.
The U.S. military presence in the Middle East is expected to remain with no clear path forward to end the conflict with Iran. Now, the USS Abraham Lincoln is headed home after being deployed for 274 days. This aircraft carrier made its last port call in December, breaking a Navy record. The vessel is being replaced by the Japan-based USS George Washington. Right now, the region is stuck in a cycle of military threats and statements from both sides. But the economic impact on Iran is being felt today. Inflation at one of its highest points in Iranian history. Just about an hour ago, the Iranian rial passed 2 million to $1 US.
You get that? They can't go on. Folks, you just got to hang tough here. 2 million Iranian riyals to $1. Okay. They're just printing money. It's going to turn into the Weimar Republic. It's unsustainable. They're going to collapse. You just got to stay the course. More strikes, take the island, more strikes, keep these ships going through, 400% increase, right? Now you're going to tell me they're winning the war? So what are they going to do? Shoot a drone at like Doha? Like nobody cares. Okay, these people are a joke. So all we got to do, this is like Baghdad Bob, right? This guy from the IRGC, you heard, oh, we're going to be striking. There's going to be seismic or something. Seismic what? You guys don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Okay, you have no money, you have no armaments, you have no air defense, you have no Navy, you have no Air Force, and your army's depleted and you have no leaders. So what the hell do you have? A handful of drones? Give me a break, okay? This is a joke. And they know these sanctions, that Besson, the new round of sanctions, they know these new round of sanctions is gonna strangle them. So that's why they're shooting at the hip and why I'm more optimistic than ever. I think this thing is going to be solved maybe by the time we get to Dallas. Okay, 888-480-JOHN. Rob in New York, line 2. Rob, you're live.
Good morning, John.
Hey, Rob.
How are you? I wanted to follow up on what your previous caller said out in Arizona. And he's right, because you and I have discussed this. Other people have discussed this. The Republicans don't know how to run on what's actually working. And I see it here. What I mean by seeing it here is I hear from my friends who are like so reactive to what they see on Fox or any of these other networks. Oh my God, the gas prices are high. I said, we paid more under Biden. Look at all this good stuff. That Indy race, even though I missed it yesterday, okay, I'm looking at some of the clips. You got to be proud of this country that they pulled that thing off in honor of our nation's birthday. And that's just a feel-good thing. Now look at the economics. They tell you the country's dead. I was at an outlet mall late yesterday afternoon because I was doing some back-to-school shopping with my kids. John, it was mobbed. People were in a good mood. Nobody was acting out. You didn't see people trying to loot stores. Everyone was behaving because they had to control flow into some of the stores. And they had to line up and wait outside in some stores. Nobody arguing. People going in. Almost everybody was carrying multiple bags. You don't do that in a crappy economy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me seeing that. Now multiply that around the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We have so much good going on here. Never mind the stock market, because the stock market, you can say, well, it's inflated, this and that. People have real dollars in their pockets with this no tax on tips and the no tax on overtime. You feel it. Okay? If you go into certain blue toilet bowl cities like New York City, you're going to feel the crap there, literally. But that's a poorly run city. Not the rest of the country is not like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why we have to be so, scared of what's going on. Like you mentioned, Larry Sabato said this. Who cares? or Bannon and, or
Richard Barris. These people
Barris.
Do you really get up on there and say, oh my God, Larry Sabato, like 90-year-old relic, just said in one dump, 14, he moved 14 races from toss-up to lean Democrat. We're all going to die. Shut up, you old man, right? You're no relic. Why don't you just go away? Right? I don't care what he says. Guy's a joke.
Barris blew Oles before, and now you're right. He's turned into clickbait.
Yeah.
And even like I noticed, like Mark Mitchell, who was very right in 2024, he seems to be out there now too. They're like paralyzed with like with Iran and with Israel. Okay, I get it. Iran, we wish this would be over earlier, but I think there's a great light at the end of the tunnel. Like you just played some good clips this morning. You don't get that information from regular news. You don't even get that on Fox.
Nope.
When you got to explain to people. And then here's another simple thing you explain to people. Well, ship traffic is down. Is it? Or the ship transponders off? A lot of people don't realize you can go online and anybody, you could track airplane movement, you could track ship movements. Well, if you want to protect ships in a hostile area, turn the transponders off. That doesn't mean those ships aren't moving. Our Navy's escorting them.
They just said there's a 400% increase in 2 weeks, okay? And the next 2 weeks are going to be 800% increase. The ships are getting through. Our Navy is escorting them. And that's going to continue to happen. And oil prices are going to come down. And when gas hits $2.98, what the hell are these people going to run on? I mean, all they run on is gas, which, of course, we both know is ludicrous because it was $5.50 under Biden. But that doesn't matter. They got one issue, dude. And when that drops, they have nothing to run on. And that's why we are going to win. So watch for the meltdown on November 5th when they don't win, because it's coming, baby. They are going to melt down. Because now everybody's told them they're going to win now, right? They've all been told they're going to win. So when they don't carry the Senate, they got zero chance. Okay, zero. They probably lose a seat. At best, it's even 3. They're going to lose a seat in the Senate, and we're going to carry the House. And the meltdown on the left is going to be something to experience. But remember, what is it? Communist Party, DC Communists or something. What are they called? DSA or something? They don't care about winning. I've already told you that. They just want to take the party over. So they want to lose. You really got to get everything that's going on here. They don't want to win. Winning is bad for them. If they want to take the party over, you need to lose, which they're going to do. The Wellness Company's next. You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, trucking the truth across America. Stay with us.
Of love from the Lord. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Wagering at its finest, playing at the highest levels, under the highest stakes for more than a decade. This is the world Past the Wire has conquered, bringing you uncompromised thoroughbred authority and elite track data that anchors the game. But the modern wagering landscape is expanding. Every sport, every line, every prop, and every high leverage future, we decode the metrics across the entire board. From game day spreads to the explosive new frontier of prediction markets and event contracts, we give you intelligence to dominate the modern financial exchanges. Because in the end, it's a battle. You versus the house. You versus the other players. In this arena, we fight with you. We are your ultimate edge. Welcome to the Ultimate Wagering Network. Subscribe to Past the Wire TV and turn on notifications, because when the dust settles,
nobody does it better.
Saturday morning, 6 on the radio, 11 on JFMN.TV.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
What happened was that
That second game, we got our ass kicked, or the second half. We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
Don't touch that dial. You've found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
This is happening in the backdrop, obviously, of the midterm elections. Let me ask you the way Trump put it recently, just not that long ago. He said that voters in the country are angry at Republicans. And he said it twice. He emphasized it. He's not angry at him, angry at Republicans. Is he right?
Well, I can speak for Texas, not these other states. And what I know very well in Texas is the attitude of Republicans. And what matters most is where their mindset is going to be on Election Day. On Election Day...
But I'm talking about right now. How does it feel right now out there?
Listen, what matters in elections is it's not in August. What matters in elections is November. And I know what's going to happen in November, and that is there's a choice at the ballot box. And when those voters go in, they're going to choose between common sense that's offered by Republicans versus the crazy that's offered by the Democrats.
So you traveled the state a lot. What do you hear from voters in places like Abilene when you get out there and they see Trump building, wanting to build the ballroom, talking about it almost every day, showing off his new helipad, talking about building a big arch, putting all the gold around. I mean, is that the kind of stuff that voters want the President of the United States to be focused on?
I was with voters from Abilene last night.
Okay, there you go.
And I pressed them repeatedly. I said, tell me how things are going. What are your thoughts? Are you guys happy? What do you like? These people were ebullient. They said they could never be happier. They're so excited about being in Texas. They're excited about the growth, the economic growth that we have in our state. They're excited about their community. And so I kept pressing to see if there was maybe any soft spot whatsoever.
Maybe this was a self-chosen crowd, though. They're coming to see you. I mean, you see it. There's anxiety, not just in Texas, but all across the country. I mean, concerns about prices, concerns about where the economy is going. And I'm just asking, I mean, when you see the president out there talking about all the money he's, wants spent at the White House to make it more beautiful, I mean, do people want that?
So let's be clear.
I mean, it's a lot of time. You have to admit, it's a lot of time that he's, just the other day, 40 minutes he was out there showing off his helipad.
And let's be clear about something else, and that is, listen, with regard to anxiety by voters, there are two components to that. One is, I know for a fact in Texas, voters are very concerned about this expansion of these socialistic ideas by people like Mendoza.
All right, it's great to have you back. Had to reboot there. We got some. We've had internet problems here all day. I'm hoping this is better. If it is, it is. If it isn't, we just got to go with it. Sometimes that's going to happen. I think probably the Freedom 500s. Some of the internet feeds here got a little squirrely on us. Anyway, it's great to have you back with us. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Joining me now from the Wellness Company, their CEO, Peter Galuli. Peter, thanks for joining us today. Sorry for the wait. Thank you for your patience.
John, thank you for having me.
Peter, let's get to last week. Doctors at the Wellness Company released a new groundbreaking study showing the potential impact that these vaccines may play on the spread of the alpha-gal syndrome, most commonly known as tick-borne condition. First, tell us what this alpha-borne syndrome is.
Yeah, alpha-gal syndrome has really taken news headlines this summer, but in summers past, and this is a really new sickness. I mean, 20 years ago, John, we didn't have anything like this. Alpha-gal syndrome is effectively allergy against the alpha-gal molecule, which is a sugar molecule that's found in most mammals, but not humans. So it's in the meat that we eat. but it is not natural in our bodies. So when we're born, we acquire tolerance to the alpha gal molecule over time as we eat meat. However, we've seen over the past year of an explosion of people who have been bitten by ticks and have suddenly developed a severe red meat allergy. And I'm talking anaphylaxis, need an EpiPen, go to the emergency room kind of severe. So this is a real problem. And I think the government is just finally starting to recognize that this is a trend. But there is really no resolution or cause that's actually been pinned back as to why this is really happening now and it's not happened in the past.
Why do some people say it's being caused by the proliferation of vaccines?
It's a great question. So, the wellness company's been doing a lot of research this summer. We've just published our own study. You can find it on our website about alpha gal syndrome. Yes, ticks have a component to alpha gal. There's no doubt about it. But we found another pathway which we think is increasingly concerning. So, vaccines, many of them carry gelatin as a kind of adjuvant. It's a carrying substance. Vaccines like MMR, varicella, vaccines that most Americans get through some time in their lives. That gelatin contains alpha gal. Again, gelatin's made from mammal products. That sensitizes the body. So you're injecting this directly in your bloodstream. Your immune system is sensitized. Then, whether it's a day, a month, a year, or more later, you get bit by a tick that has alpha gal in the tick's salivary glands, and that really triggers the severe immune reaction when you have meat. So that's really our theory here, and there's a lot of anecdotal evidence from other studies in other countries, John, that seem to point to the fact that that's true.
So, I mean, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Bobby Kennedy Jr., just announced a new initiative to target tick-borne diseases like AGS. Do you think that the government should get further involved in this?
Well, they don't have a great track record so far, John. Look, tick-borne illnesses are a major problem. It's very undiagnosed among the population. I mean, look, we've seen almost 500,000 people this year just be diagnosed with alpha gal syndrome, and we're not even talking about things like Lyme disease, which can go on for years and years and years and really affect lives. But it is a major problem. I think we need to take a good hard look at preventative strategies. We're never really talking about how to prevent these things from happening. The pharmaceutical industry seems to be only concerned, John, with how to cure diseases like this. But really, prevention is the key to success here. And I think there's a lot of common sense things that Americans can do just to prevent injuries like this. So I'm really hoping that the government does not need to involve itself like it did during the pandemic era, and then can just let Americans use some common sense here.
So what preventative measures does the wellness company have for this?
Look, we're going to first advise you, John, to do all the things your mom taught you. Wear pants if you're going to be walking through the brush. Make sure that you do a tick check when you come out from a day outside. Make sure you check the dog and the animals who really can carry ticks inside the house without you knowing. Those things are obvious. The other things is use bug repellent, right? We designed our own this summer. It is completely botanical. It has nothing like DDT or DEET or anything like those ones at the store carry. It has natural essential oils that ticks and mosquitoes are repelled by. So there's a lot of little things that you can do there, and make sure that you're just doing the constant check of your family and your children. I mean, ticks come in, and if you get bit, a course of doxycycline immediately if you see any symptoms is usually enough to clear it up.
A lot of people say avoid walking under trees. How do you feel about that?
Well, ticks don't jump, so it's a common misconception. So ticks can get on you by falling or grabbing you. So they happen to get on your clothes by either falling out of branches or bushes when they're bumped, or from latching onto you because they're on some sort of low-lying vegetation that they can hook onto your clothing. So look, you're not going to be able to avoid it if you're walking in the woods or hiking this summer. So the best thing to do is to really do a thorough check when you get back.
Tell us about the repellent that you guys have, and is that specifically for ticks or does it work for all insects?
Yeah, it works for all insects, John. I mean, especially mosquitoes and ticks and biting flies. I mean, those are really the things that bug you anyway. It contains over 7 different essential oils. It's a foaming spray, so you can spread it on your skin. It's non-irritating. It's all natural because it is essential oils. It's not one of those, aerosol cans that makes you cough when you spray it and it has nasty chemicals. It was really important to us, John, that we use natural ingredients, and I think it's a misconception that a lot of people have that you need to have these artificial ingredients that you need to spray yourself with and hold your breath when you do so in order to repel bugs. That's just not the case.
So medical emergency kit, which I'm a big believer is in, what is in the traditional wellness company medical emergency kit that you'd be able to take if indeed you did see that you got bit by a tick?
Yeah, doxycycline is your go-to. It is the recommended thing, and it's what you'll get at the emergency room or the urgent care if you were to go in there with a tick bite. Especially when you start seeing red inflamed skin or any rings around the bite, that's a really good sign that you have an infection. And look, tick infections are quickly treatable if you can catch them immediately. It's really when ticks bite you and you don't address the bite for months and months, that's when you can really contract some major diseases. So, as always, John, quick treatment really is the key to success, and that's why we recommend having something like the kit on hand where you can take doxycycline right after the bite to make sure that you don't get sick. I did it myself last summer, John. I was on Cape Cod, got bit by a tick. Exact same thing happened.
How'd you know you got bit by a tick?
I found it.
Just on a part of your body.
Yeah, it was on my leg. I found the tick. I threw it away. Experts do recommend that if you're very concerned about the tick, that you save it in a plastic bag and you can send it off to testing to see if it has something like Lyme disease. I did not. I just threw it away. I saw sort of the red inflammation, took doxycycline, and I was good to go.
What about Lyme disease?
Lyme disease progresses slowly over time, John. I think Lyme disease is also one of the more challenging diseases that are out there. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation this year about the origins of Lyme disease. Obviously, people think that there is a credible story to be told that it was originated through testing in various biolabs in the United States. Lyme, Connecticut, where it was discovered, is not far from these biolabs, especially out on Long Island. While that has not been, conclusively proven by the government, Lyme disease remains a big issue. It is a histamine overload. The best way to do it is to really treat overactive mast cells that can really flare up when your body is trying to fight Lyme disease and cause all these nasty side effects.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, Truck the Truth Across America. We're with Peter Gillooly. Peter is the CEO of The Wellness Company. And first thing you need to do, folks, for you, your family, is get your Wellness Company medical emergency kit. I'm traveling today to Charlotte, going to Rock Hill, South Carolina for the Ralph Norman campaign. We're going to be covering that. You don't think I'm going to be taking that with me? Dan knows I don't go anywhere without this thing because you never know what's going to happen. Protect you and your family. Joe's got one, Ann's got one, I've got one. I just got it replenished again because you actually take the stuff in it. This is why it is absolutely one of the most critical things for you and your family. Go to twc.health/Godzilla. Do it now and you have it. Because if something goes down and you don't have it, takes a week to get it, then it's often too late. So you want to get it now. Be prepared for the next thing that happens, the next crisis. Just go to twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. Put the promo code in. Promo code Godzilla, and you will get 10% off whatever you buy there. Now, Peter, ivermectin, there is now a growing number of people that believe that it is very effective in early stages of cancer. I know you've done some studies on it. They've not been generally released to the medical community, but tell us about that.
Yeah, look, we've had a lot of patients that have come to our doctors to take ivermectin and ivermectin bendazole off-label for cancer treatment. While the FDA is not able to admit that there is efficacy there, the science doesn't necessarily agree. There's been a number of small scale studies over the past few years that show effectiveness against cancer. Johns Hopkins, John actually has published a patent for mebendazol's use in cancer treatment. So there's some credible scientific minds behind ivermectin and mebendazole for cancer. TWC study that we published this spring in the Journal of Anti-Cancer tracked 200 cancer patients over the course of 6 months that were using ivermectin and mebendazole for cancer in conjunction with their conventional oncology treatment routes. We saw 84% clinical improvement, clinical benefit ratio among those cancer patients. A remarkable number for something that is so safe and cost effective when you're comparing chemotherapy, for instance, that can cost you, $60,000 plus for a single course of treatment. So we're really hoping that the FDA lends these medications the credibility they need. We really need a large scale randomized controlled trial to make sure that people are actually seeing the best benefit and how. But in the meantime, absence of that, we recommend if anybody has cancer or has a family member with cancer, go to twc.health/cancer, read our study. It makes it very clear what the results are and how people are proceeding. And, we have doctors ready for you on the horn that can help.
What's your vision of the wellness company now? Like the next steps in your company's growth and involvement, Peter?
Yeah, John, we've been together for how long now? Almost 4 years.
Yes.
Look, we started out really trying to fight the aftermath of the pandemic and cut through the misinformation that was happening on all these vaccines and all these other horrible things they're recommending people do when they got sick with COVID. We've evolved so much since then. I think that's still a core part of who we are and what we do. And Lord knows, John, there's still a lot of people out there who are contending with side effects in their health from the pandemic, and we want to help those people. But we're really looking forward, John. I mean, Americans need credible medical advice. They need straight talk from people that aren't in the FDA and bought out by the pharmaceutical establishment that can help them. We're not saying that pharmaceuticals don't have a place; they do. However, when it's the only tool in your toolbox, John, you see Americans make some pretty bad decisions. So we're trying to really blend together and synthesize everything from the allopathic to the naturopathic and make sure that people have medical professionals that they can talk to, whether they're going through cancer or something else. We're there, John, for all these people, and we're going to be rolling out programs here this fall, like our cancer support program, which will actually, we're setting up a group in Dallas that is going to be able to do cancer support coaching for cancer patients. So if you have, trouble interpreting your labs, you need to have help coordinating your next meeting. You need to know what questions to ask your oncologist. We're getting a full set of individuals that are trained and here to help people that have cancer that are going through these journeys, because there are a lot of questions, and sadly, the system doesn't provide a lot of answers.
Peter, let me ask you this: as you evolve the wellness company, how are you attracting doctors? Like you've got such a bevy of really qualified, really top of the line researchers and just medical practitioners. What is your methodology for continuing to attract doctors to grow your business?
I'm not going to lie to you, John. It's challenging. Sadly, I think a lot of doctors are still bought by the system. Younger doctors specifically, I would say we rarely encounter. I think that's a product, John, of how the medical system is now creating doctors in America. And think about it, right? Doctors are effectively in school until they're in their 30s, right after they go through residency and all that. They enter their career, saddled with $500,000 or more of debt. I mean, that's basically a house, right? So all these doctors are stuck working for the hospital systems that have hired them for years and years and years till they're out of debt and can, seek other employment. We need doctors that are willing to look a little broader behind what they saw in their medical textbooks, right? I think Dr. McCullough told me once that when he was in medical school, they spent about an hour total throughout their entire medical school talking about things like vaccines. So there's a lot to learn still left in medicine, John. We spend a lot of our own time educating our doctors, Dr. McCullough, Dr. Victory. We put on seminaries for our doctors. We cover all sorts of topics. We actually covered tick-borne illnesses last month, in fact, because it's really important that we're sharing the knowledge, we're sharing the research, and we're getting actual solutions in the hands of our medical professionals. Otherwise, we're just gonna offer nothing further than the kind of terrible advice that you hear from the doctors on TV, and that's not who we are.
Peter, there is a number of doctors who have moved out of, let's get away from just basically the big hospitals, that have moved away from taking Medicare, Medicaid, and all of that stuff, and going to a cash basis. And there's a growing movement. Now, obviously, not everybody can afford that, but there are doctors doing that. Is that a segment that you guys are trying to recruit?
Yeah, we basically are already there, John. And look, here's the thing. So healthcare is not cheap in America, right? Even if you have insurance, right? You probably have a deductible that's several $1,000s or more. If you actually calculate, John, the amount of money you spend every single year on insurance, through all the premiums and everything, and maybe you get, an 8-minute conversation with your physician when you get your annual physical, you're paying thousands and thousands and thousands a year for insurance. It's quite frankly crazy, John. It'd be like, if car insurance was like health insurance, we would use our car insurance every time we needed to change the windshield washer fluid. That's how we treat health insurance, and it's no wonder that the costs are so high. So we see these doctors that are going to cash pay only. Maybe each visit is a little bit more expensive, but I think the difference with cash pay only, John, is that you're much more focused on your health. You're not automatically biased by some of these big institutions that are paying for specific standards of care that align with the treatments that they want to cover, like insurance companies. And you're actually getting doctors who are not bought out. And that's really what we do with the wellness company. That's why we're cash pay only, because insurance wouldn't want to cover what we're doing, John. And I think that's an important distinction to make.
Yeah, because they want people to get sick, because that's how they make money. I mean, that's why the system is so corrupt, Peter. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Hey, for anybody out there, if you don't have the protection your family needs, you need to get your TWC medical emergency kit right now from the wellness company. I got 3 of them. You can get one. All you got to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla, twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. You're going to get 10% off. Peter, thank you for sharing that with us, your vision for the company going forward, how you grow it. And you guys are on the cutting edge of a new way to do medicine. And I'm a believer, as you know, because I use your doctors, and other than get, blood tests and the annual physical, I've been very, very pleased with everything. But that medical emergency kit is your bedrock. You got to get that. Then you go from there. Get that first. Peter, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John.
All right. Stephen K. Bannon coming up. Keep it right here. After that, Chris Ruddy, Newsmax CEO. It's like CEO Day.
WJFN W224EB 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB 107.7 Barnair, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Portsmouth AM 1650.
From Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. Amid looming U.S. economic sanctions on Iran, Pakistan's defense chief visits Tehran today in an attempt to reopen talks between Iran and the U.S.
Field Marshal Munir's visit to Tehran coincides with an expected announcement on Monday of further U.S. sanctions on Iran, which U.S. officials say would be the toughest yet. Tehran remains defiant and continues to threaten strikes on any oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz that it considers unauthorized. but its economy is under pressure, battered by war, by a U.S. naval blockade, and by high inflation. Its currency, the rial, has hit a record low.
The BBC's Sanjay Dasgupta. Russia is facing a growing energy crisis as the war with Ukraine batters its domestic economy.
Reports say fuel is available at just 28% of Russian gas stations after Ukrainian strikes damaged more than half of the country's refining capacity. Long lines, rationing, poor quality gasoline, and fights at pumps are being reported even in Moscow. While Vladimir Putin calls the crisis non-critical, authorities are reportedly arresting or fining citizens who publicly complain, raising concerns about an even tougher winter ahead. Ken Lorman reporting.
42,000 people have been ordered to evacuate their homes. Another 45,000 are advised to do so as a fast-growing wildfire continues to rage in Reno, Nevada. The Hawk Fire began on Saturday. It has grown to more than 23 square miles. Last word, there was zero containment. Tropical storm Moke is passing south of Hawaii's Big Island, close enough to dump at least a foot of rain on communities still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Lala. The Dow futures down 54 points. NASDAQ futures off 125 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, making payment after payment, month after month, yet never getting ahead? If you're tired of watching your hard-earned money disappear into interest charges, there may be options available to help you take back control of your finances. At Total Financial Freedom, they'll show you what qualified consumers may be able to save through programs designed to help them resolve debt faster than making minimum payments alone. The consultation is free, confidential, and comes with absolutely no obligation. Why spend years, sometimes decades, paying thousands in interest when there may be a better path forward? Total Financial Freedom is a Christian-owned company that has helped thousands of Americans pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-844-7344. 866-844-7344.
The death toll is at least 30 in the collapse of a mountain of garbage at the largest landfill in Guinea.
Authorities said heavy rains, which started at around 2 a.m., washed over the refuse at Dar es Salaam in Conakry and triggered a landslide that buried nearby shacks. 6 people were seriously injured and several homes were destroyed. Before the landslide happened, locals living nearby had been given eviction notices and the landfill site had been designated for closure due to the danger it posed. But several families hadn't yet left the area when disaster struck. Authorities have since promised to relocate the remaining families elsewhere. Meanwhile, a search and rescue operation continues in an effort to find other survivors. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Thailand's Prime Minister has held an urgent meeting with security officials after coordinated violence in 3 southern provinces occurred Saturday night involving small bombs, arson, and property damage. News and analysis, townhall.com. Let the music play.
The Boston Symphony Orchestra and its musicians have agreed to extend their collective bargaining agreement by 48 hours. The musicians' 3-year contract had been set to expire right before midnight Sunday, and the union representing musicians authorized to strike. Orchestra members have never gone on strike in the BSO's 145-year history. The orchestra and management have had strained relations since the BSO decided in March to force out music director Andres Nelsons next summer after 13 seasons. I'm Donna Warder.
After the collapse of trade talks, President Trump's 50% tariffs on Canadian imports have kicked in. The new levies are expected to affect roughly $20 billion worth of Canadian goods. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney quickly promised that his government would roll out dollar-for-dollar retaliatory measures. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The Trump administration has brought positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. If we really want to make America healthy again, well, that starts at home. And that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from the Wellness Company doctors all the time, and you know their products are the gold standard for keeping you and your family safe and healthy, giving you the opportunity to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part and protect the health of you and your family. Live a healthier, longer, and more satisfying life. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10% today.
I spent my career building a business, but I couldn't stand by while Washington spent money it didn't have. So I got in the fight, and I never forgot who elected me. This election is about the America we pass on to your family and mine. We inherited freedom. Now it's our turn to defend it, to strengthen it, and to leave America stronger than we found it. You shouldn't have to guess where your next senator stands. With me, you already know. I'm Ralph Norman, and I approve this message.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code GODZILLA for free activation.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Godzilla Wins, where you get the best insight and best information on how to win the most money ever.
Guess what? GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
You heard the man. The all-new GodzillaWins.com is all about winners, with fresh daily picks by J-Fred and your favorite players from the Godzilla Wins team. Get your hot takes from the show, then click the website for the dough. GodzillaWins.com.
GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who plays to win the game, John Fredericks.
Great to have you on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. I'm sorry. Coming to you live from Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us. Phone lines open. Steve Bannon should be here in a couple of minutes, but meantime, we'll take your calls. 888-480-JOHN. 888-480-5646. You're ready to rock and roll. Listen, we just launched our new TV app. You got to download it. Dan, it is so cool. It is so freaking cool. All you got to do is App Store or Google Play. Just download our app. Yeah, just put in the search bar JFMN.TV. JFMN.TV. And I'll tell you why this is so cool. Because we have live TV programming Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. right through 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, continuous stream like a regular TV channel. You can also, of course, get us on your big screen smart TV on Roku, Apple Stick, and Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick, and Google TV. So you can get us there. But the app is really cool. Just download it, JFMN.TV. You download that app, you click on it, and boom, you are ready to rock and roll. So if you were on it right now, you'd be seeing us on camera, whatever we do. So look, we actually have our own TV channel. That's pretty neat, right? You got to admit, that is really, really cool. From 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday. We'll go from there. And then, of course, Saturday, 8 a.m. with the Killer Car Show right through 3 in the afternoon. All good. 888-480-JOHN. Download it now. If you don't download it, there isn't anything I can do about it. Hey, quick announcement. If you're listening to me on AM 1690 in Atlanta, that is being sold. And that will change programming to the new owners with an LMA, which is a license management agreement, God willing, I guess, on September 1st. That's the plan. And right now that appears the way it's going to go, that station will be sold pending FCC approval, which normally takes a few months, 60 days or so. But in the meantime, that programming is changing September 1 at midnight. So if you're a listener and you like our programming, you're not going to get it there on the radio. So you're going to have to download our app. If you're on the WMLB app, that'll be redirected to the JFMN app. So you'll be good to go. Nothing will change there. Let's get to let's get to cut two here. Here's Margaret Brennan, another libtard, pushing back on Dr. Oz about vaccines. This whole why the libtards and the mastards are fascinated and want 1,000 vaccines are beyond me. I mean, why isn't that just up to the parents? Like, why do they want vaccines? Like, it's not like diseases are being spread, okay? So why are they, anything the government controls, the masktards are all in. The libtards and the mastards, all they want, big pharma, big this, big that, government controls everything, including vaccines. Let's get to Margaret the masktard.
Question again, this comes back to a much more fundamental issue, Margaret. Do parents have the right to ask questions? We already experienced what happened during COVID when we took away that right from parents. They were forced to give their kids COVID vaccines.
They were not forced to give their kids.
Well, they were pushed hard and oftentimes hindered from doing what they wanted to do, like going out socially, if their kids were not included in these programs. What we should, as a nation, no, of course, it's not up to the state. It's not up to the federal government. It's up to the states. States do this. The request of the president is to make sure that states offer parents either eligibility because of religious beliefs or other reasons why they may not want to have their kids take all the vaccines in order. Let's pick a specific example, hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is a vaccine I happen to like. I got the hepatitis B vaccine, but it helps adults avoiding issues if they're involved, for example, in my case as a doctor, if I just hit myself with a needle with a patient, but it usually it's for drug abusers and for people who are involved in...
Or infants who could be exposed by a caregiver, by someone in their house, by a parent unwittingly, which is why it is provided to children.
Extraordinarily rare, and it's hard to design an entire program around just that possibility. The reality is, if a parent wants to delay this vaccine from the hour the child is born for a few years because they don't think they're going to be in those high-risk categories, why not give the parent that choice? Again, we're going to pay for it no matter what.
Okay.
What is amazing with these libtards like Margaret Brennan is rather than listen to what Oz is saying, rather than engage in a productive conversation to inform viewers, it's all like disputing what he says, like disputing a word, like, well, it's not forced on them. Well, yeah, maybe you didn't go to jail, but like you were ostracized if it did. Like, this is all they do. I don't even know why you bother to go on these shows. Now, Oz does a great job because he doesn't care and he just barrels through it. But, like, what did she add here? What did the masked-tard Margaret Brennan add? What did she add as a journalist or as a person on TV? Don't even call her a journalist because they're not. None of these people get it are journalists, right? No more than I am, right? We all have a position. So I get it. So we're not journalists. We're like, TV hosts. So she's a TV host of a show and she's a masked-tard. So, but all she does is dispute whatever he's saying. Like, that's her job, is to dispute what he's saying. Why don't you hear what he has to say, twit? That would be interesting to hear what he has to say. And I thought what he said about hepatitis B vaccine made sense. Adults can take it. As a doctor, I took it. Here's why. Well, children should take it. He's like, no. Well, they could get it from this and that. Well, that's like rare. You don't roll out a national vaccine program because 1 in a million or 2 million or 10 million might get this because of some obscure reason. Like, he's 100% correct, but all she wanted to do was argue with him. This is why I don't know why would I ever watch a Sunday show? I don't know. Do you guys watch those? Somebody call me. I guess Steve can't make it. Does anybody watch these? I don't. I haven't watched a Sunday show 30 years or more. I could care less. Like, I do politics all week. If I'm going to watch something on Sunday after church, it's going to be ESPN Game Day. That's what I'm going to watch. Or, preview to the, Big Ten baseball game. What am I going to watch? Like, more of this dribble? I see it all week. So, unbelievable. Anyway, download our app, jfmn.tv, jfmn.tv. And that's our new TV app. It is so cool. Live TV programming on the John Fredericks Media Network right from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Saturday. It's unbelievable. On our News Talk Sports Network, you get live programming uninterrupted. Of course, we have commercials. All you got to do is download my app. Just go to Google Play or the App Store, download jfmn.tv. Download the app, and you got live programming like a regular TV channel all the way through. Joining me now, Stephen K. Bannon. Stephen K. Bannon live on the War Room. You can get that on RAV and warroom.com. That is Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, and then 5 to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 10 to noon. Steve, thanks for being with us.
John, great to be here.
Steve, lots to talk about today. I want to start with Iran. Now we understand there's a 400% increase in barrels getting through. Bessent says because our Navy is escorting them. Scott Bessent says the sanctions are going to be like nothing you've ever seen. We have the iron wall. They can't get their crude oil out. Now we're going to be sanctioning their money coming from China. Where are we going with this Iran war, Stephen K. Bannon?
Well, I think the press conference today, I believe Secretary Bessent's going to have it at approximately 1 o'clock. I think it's a new phase of this. The kinetic part's going to be wound down, and there's going to be a huge uptick in what they're calling economic D-Day. This will include not just sanctions, but massive secondary sanctions on either European and or the Chinese Communist Party. Trading with Iran. It also, I think, deal with this overland route through Pakistan that resupplies particularly military components to the Chinese equipment and the Russian equipment they bought over years. It'll deal with the banks cutting them off using the SWIFT system from any type of getting any type of cash in, particularly our quote-unquote allies in the Persian Gulf, specifically Dubai, which the money center banks are the really money laundering operation for Tehran to keep them in cash. Obviously, you've got the fleet. There'll be 1 or 2 carrier battle groups out there to allow UAE, Saudi, and Qatar, Kuwait oil out to friendly countries, but block everything going to the CCP. So this will be full spectrum dominance on the economic side. In addition, he'll talk about destroying their currency. And so, kind of what you saw in January before the kinetic parts start, you'll see this is the regime has been apoplectic all weekend, saying that they're going to strike back kinetically. You can't do this. It's against the Geneva Convention, on and on and on. But obviously it's got their attention. I think this will get to see if the administration sticks with this. I think Scott Bessent will lay out something very aggressive today, and we'll see. It'll definitely be a war plan on the economic side, and it'll draw down the kinetic side. But we'll see if this is something that people stick with. Already supporters of Israel are saying that you got to finish the job. Mike Pence was in Kiev over the weekend, was giving interviews that you still got to go kinetic. So we'll see how this all plays out. But there'll be a game plan very specifically laid out of how you can destroy the Persians economically through a quarantine and hermetically sealing it from the world's economy. Obviously, the Chinese Communist Party have a lot to say about this, but we'll see how it develops over the next couple of days.
Steve, you think it'll work?
It'll work if you have patience and you stick to the plan. I think it definitely will work. I don't think there's any question about that. The Iranians wouldn't be full on trying to squealing already about it, and quite frankly, the people who want to go kinetic and go back in and go back to the kinetic part of this war wouldn't be saying that it's not going to work unless it could. The whole question is, do you have the patience? Do you have the political will to stick with us? And we'll see that over the next couple of weeks. I mean, it shouldn't.
Do you think we do?
Be lost on anybody that the Chinese Communist Party are coming for a 3-day, at least tentatively right now, for a 2 or 3 day visit at the end of September. And I would actually argue today's presentation is really the Iranians are just the intermediary. This is really about economic war against the Chinese Communist Party.
You think we have the patience? Do you think the administration has the patience to stick with this the way you've outlined it, Steve?
I think that, listen, with Bessent, you got very serious people, obviously. I think that the kinetic alternative is you have the law of diminishing returns right now. I think this is something that should, as you know, John, we've advocated this for day one, that this is what we should have done, and you could have avoided everything else. Time will tell. I think people will get in back of this because hopefully we'll have a troop drawdown, although I do understand they are rolling some major assets into the area. So I think if you stick to it, I think it'll work. You got a guy like Bessent who knows the system, is not a guy that messes around. So number one, I would tell people, watch the press conference today at 1, see what's said, see what the action plan is, and then let's see if this thing is implemented to its fullest capacity. If what Scott has been implying over the last couple of days, if you implement that, you'll definitely hermetically seal this country economically and financially and start to bring it to its knees. The question will be, is the political will there to see this through? Inflation
raging there right now, Steve. Their currency trading to the dollar, get this, as of this morning, 2 million to 1. I don't know I forget what their currency is called, something. 2 million to 1. How do you survive?
It's going to be very difficult.
It's like the Weimar
Republic. The mullahs and the Ayatollah, who knows how much in charge are. We do know, I think you can say that after the decapitation strikes on both the Ayatollah and the mullah, you definitely have now a military junta of the second and third in commands, because the leadership was killed, that are even more hardcore than the original. These people are very tough, very hard, and they take a lot of suffering, particularly when it's the populace that do most of it. So as you saw back in January when they destroyed the currency, millions of people took to the streets and they killed, up to 40,000. That was when they really felt some pain. So we'll have to see. But no, this is Bessent's ability to quarantine this country economically. I think it'd be pretty powerful if we bring every sanction into place, and particularly secondary sanctions, definitely on the banks, cut them off from oil, start to focus on destroying the currency even more, you're going to have a country that's going to be economically and financially in chaos, I think, in pretty short order.
Why did Jared Kushner go meet with Hakeem Jeffries?
I don't think, for motivating people for November, I'm not sure that's the kind of motivation we needed on a weekend. I have no idea. I can't opine to it.
Do you agree with me that
that
is about the stupidest thing you could possibly do when you're losing in the polls, fake polls or not, when you know this thing is going to be a barn burner, and you got your son-in-law meeting with Hakeem Jeffries trying to cut a deal. I mean, you talk about we don't have the intensity. How does that intensify anybody on MAGA? Can you answer me that?
It's also interesting that it was Maggie Haberman and Annie Carney who were two of the most dialed-in people on Capitol Hill and the White House, and obviously it looked like the Democrats leaked this right away.
Of course they leaked it.
I can't.
Of course they leaked it.
It's not the kind of thing. We're every day we're working with grassroots organizations. As I know that you guys have a huge listenership on the grassroots side. It's it's the kind of thing that I think you want to avoid is that you get everybody to turn out in November. And obviously, we have an urgency issue, just like the opposite of what the Democrats right have. They're smelling blood, and we need to do everything that's focused on turning out much of the Trump base, particularly those lower propensity voters that maybe not vote in off-year elections. There's a ton of articles coming out about Texas. And it's not about Ken Paxton. It's just an overall, people very upset with what's going on with kind of the traditional Bush Republican rule down there. And, you've got motivational issues. So I think that the Hakeem Jeffries, the leak on the Hakeem Jeffries meeting the timing was not great.
Well, of course it was leaked. I mean, what'd you expect? I mean, it wasn't, Kushner wasn't there 15 minutes and this thing leaked because they could say, look, even they think we're going to win. This is why they came and met with me. I mean, it's about the stupidest thing. I mean, every time I think, okay, I'm never going to see anything dumber than that, I see this. And it's like, you just can't make this stuff up. So dumb, so ridiculous. Dallas.
I'm not, John, I'm also not sure that Hakeem Jeffries is the guy to be meeting with. I don't think Hakeem Jeffries is a lock. If we do somehow don't hold serve in the House and we lose it, I'm not so sure it's a lock that Hakeem Jeffries is going to be the speaker.
Me either. That's why the meeting was dumb.
I think this far left of the Democratic Party is going to have a lot to say about who's speaker. I'm not saying they're going to have their person in there, but they're going to vote as a block and they're going to have a lot to say. And so, and they won't be taking meetings because they want to impeach President Trump immediately and put everybody under investigation and shut down all the MAGA influence into this second term. So it's, like I said, not a great motivational story for the Trump base.
Stupid. You're on the phone. It's 9 a.m. President Trump calls you today and says, Steve, what do I have to do to turn the corner and hold the House? Give me the top three things I have to do. What is it?
I think it's just back to the basic policies that got the president here had him when he was driven into exile after they stole the 2020 election. And those 4 years worked on and built up the momentum to really it kind of blow out the primary with, all of Fox News and everybody against him and trying to push DeSantis or Nikki Haley or, the flavor of the day. It's those policies that got him roaring back and really made the primary not a big deal. Also, that won this general election. I think it's back to the basics, the mass deportations, wind down this foreign intervention. He's got Scott Bessent and Russ Vought on this fiscal consolidation. There's supposed to be a report in a couple of weeks about how you cut spending. If there's any revenue enhancements that could be out there, continue on with your economic plan of both tariffs and tax cuts that incentivize industry to build, buy capital equipment and build us back into a manufacturing hegemon. You go after the DEI and focus on getting rid of H-1B visas and make sure that American kids have access to a job. It's nothing fancy. It's just the basic blocking and tackling that the MAGA movement has always had, that he's the leader of, and has articulated these policies over time. I think you do that, I think it's still doable. You could hold serve in the House by a seat or two. There's about 20, as you know, John. There's probably 15 to 20 of these seats in play. I think you have a great chance of winning enough to hold serve. I think in the Senate, regardless of the disasters in North Carolina and Ohio and other places, it looks like you've got pretty good news coming out of Michigan. I think you could hold the Senate, maybe even by a seat, if not, at least by a tie. So it is not a foregone conclusion at all that you're going to lose the House and the Senate. It just needs to focus on, and I think the political team's focus on, persuasion and going after kind of independents or moderate Democrats, is, as I've said and been very vocal about, has been the wrong plan. It's just focus on the MAGA base, particularly in those lower propensity voters that come out when President Trump's on the ballot. He said it in South Carolina the other night. He says, I am on the ballot. He said that a number of times. And I think it's focused on that, core policies, and we'll be fine. We'll hold serve. And I don't want to mislead people to think it's going to be nirvana after that. You're going to have 2 years of trench warfare, because you're going to have the House at best by a seat or two, and you're going to have the Senate by a seat or maybe a tiebreaker with the vice president. So it's not like you're going to be pushing through tons of legislation. I would tell the president and strongly recommend that he sign a national security emergency order about the elections in the next week or two, so that we can actually make sure that we've got ICE at the polls on polling day, that to make sure that you go through these voter rolls to the degree you can go through them and purge them right now. And most importantly, stop the overuse of mail-in ballots and enforce a photo ID, voter ID. So I think you do that, and I think we'll be just fine.
Are you going to Dallas for the midterm convention?
I think the midterm convention I would actually say is probably more of an extended rally. I don't want people to get, at least in my perspective, we're going to have a big presence there. So, but it's not, I don't think, a traditional convention. I think it's more of an extended rally, but I do think it's going to be something that motivates people, although I think the messaging's got to be very honed about what people are looking for, particularly getting, like I said, the grassroots motivated to canvass, the grassroots, to go door to door, and particularly the focus on these lower propensity Trump voters who always turn out for the president when he's top of the ticket. You've got to go get those out, and there's got to be a sense of urgency. This result of the Butler, state house or state legislature race, a special election the other day, should be another warning sign that the Democrats were particularly DSA and the Working Family Party, are very motivated to get their people out. And from my understanding of talking to people in the area, there was not a lot of canvassing. There was not door to door. There was not it was an odd time to have a special election and, vacation time, et cetera. But people didn't really know what was going on. And I think that's going to be a huge problem. You're going to have turnout in Texas. You're going to have turnout in these states. Right now, you should understand, North Carolina Senate race looks like it could be out of reach. You're going to have 2 Democratic senators from Virginia, and you're going to have in Georgia, Ossoff could win by a large margin. So you got 3 southern states with Senate races. Okay, the Democrats are going to overperform. I think you're going to have South Carolina in play, and I think there's a poll out from a pretty radical person on the left that shows Tom Cotton looks like he's in a dead heat. Now, that poll may not be the best poll in the world, but people got to realize this: the South is even under pressure. You got this issue in Texas of getting people out. So folks got to understand it's going to be motivation. This is going to be back to ground game. This is going to be back to basics of getting people out, and hopefully this rally or convention, what's happening in Dallas, and Rav's going to do a really big, thorough job down there. We've got to make sure people are highly motivated coming out of there for the last 7-8 weeks of the campaign.
Stephen K. Bannon, I want to thank you, Steve, for being with us. I know you're short on time. You got to go. Thank you for your insight. You can follow him, War Room, 10 to noon, Monday to Friday, 5 to 6, Saturday, 10 to noon. By the way, it's a live show, not a podcast. Steve, thanks for joining us. Chris Ruddy.
John, thank you so much. Look, watch Scott's press conference at 1, and we'll talk later. Thanks.
Chris Ruddy next. Keep it right here.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Folks, this is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. I have recently turned 77 years old. I do not take prescription drugs. I have not had to take prescription drugs, and I attribute a lot of my good health to a product that I've been taking, which is the active ingredient in Sol Tea. It's a 22% concentration of theaflavin. We did clinical trials on it 25 years ago and found that it helped lower cholesterol. We have had many, many hundreds of letters and emails from customers telling us how it has helped them not only manage their cholesterol, but lower their triglycerides and help them on their blood pressure. And I can't tell you how much I attribute to Sol Tea for my good health at age 77. And I encourage you to go to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. And use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% off on your initial shipment of Sol Tea. And I promise you it will be a great help for your heart health. Thanks so much.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
Don't touch that dial. You found your home of the truth.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
With the best analysis in America.
You can't handle the truth.
And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the truth in America, your oracle of the deplorables. Thanks for being with us, coming alive in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Now the safest, cleanest, most beautiful city in America. And you saw that yesterday with the Freedom 250. Absolutely gorgeous. What a great day. Kids were having fun. Everybody having fun. 100,000 people here. Metro, you can eat off the grounds. It's that clean. It's totally safe. Joining me now, Chris Ruddy, CEO, Newsmax. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
John, always great to be on with you.
Chris, lots to talk about. I want to start with Newsmax's quarterly results, way over expectations from what you've done, taking this company public. You and your management team, your leadership team, and and those that own stock in the company has to be ecstatic about your results, the growth, and where Newsmax is headed. Chris.
Well, I don't know what I can say more than that. That's a great wind-up, John. But you know, the truth is that we went public last year, and we had a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's never going to work out. You'll never do this and that. You'll never accomplish any goals." Reminded me when I started Newsmax, the television channel in 2014. People said, "You're never going to get on cable systems. You're never going to get license fees. You're never going to get renewed." We're on all the major cable systems. Our Newsmax channel is one of the highest rated cable channels in America. We have about 50 million people that are tuning in over the quarter. It's a huge, huge number. And our stock has done really well. The price, we just announced profits for the first time since we went public. Pretty significant, we think, for our company. And we're over almost $6 million in EBITDA. We've seen audience growth. We call what we're doing a news revolution because anybody that sees where we're covering, John, like you, we're taking on the mainstream media and we're having a big result. You know, they basically dominate. They dominate big tech, and so people that are more interested in Newsmax should take a look at newsmaxinvest.com, or where our symbol is NMAX on the New York Stock Exchange, and I think you'll find a company that's really solid.
I thought, Chris, one of the most groundbreaking things you guys have done was have the exclusive uncovering the South Carolina Republican debate between Ralph Norman and Darlene Graham. I'm leaving for South Carolina this afternoon after the show, and pretty excited about that. What was your vision for that?
Well, we feel it's a very important race. You know, South Carolina, Lindsey Graham made that into a very powerful seat. His sister wants the seat. I think she's having some problems, Darlene, because she seems like a very nice person, but she has no history of working in conservative candidates or causes other than supporting her brother. And I was a close friend of Lindsey, but I don't think somebody should just get a major job like that, such a critical job, because remember, she's going to be in the Senate for another 20 years, possibly, at least, and so no vetting, no understanding of her political positions. And you had other candidates that ran. Now it's down to Ralph Norman. He has a long track record of he was one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus. So I don't know. I think it's not an easy decision for a lot of people, but I would always tend to go, without making any endorsements here, always go with experience and track record.
And that's what you get with Congressman Norman, because you know where he stands. That's why we endorsed him. And I'm going down there. I'll be at his campaign headquarters on Tuesday. We have an election night show Tuesday night. And I think he's going to win. So we'll see what happens.
You're saying nice things about me and Newsmax, but look at you. You're a radio host. You go right where the action is.
Well, we've been doing
that. You don't fool
forever.
around. This is radio hosts in America don't do this. This is your audience should know they have somebody really unique, John.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that, Chris. I really appreciate it. I want to get to the midterms, and I want to get your take on it because you've been around a very long time. You've being at the CEO of Newsmax, you hear it all. You got your finger on the pulse. What do you see? Give us a candid assessment of the midterms. Let's start with the House. How do Republicans maintain control?
Well, first of all, I haven't been around a long time. I'm a very young guy. You can see it on the video here. I'm a lot younger than Steve Bannon. As you know, he started in I think it was the Grover Cleveland or the McKinley campaign for president.
McKinley.
I think it was McKinley, yeah. So I've been covering politics. I've been watching politics since the Reagan years, right? I had met Ronald Reagan. I had worked in his campaign. I think we're heading for catastrophe in the midterms. I don't see the numbers in every special election is pointed to big turnouts for the Democrats, for the left, by a big factor. Just take Florida in the primaries, okay? In the state of Florida, Republicans outnumber in registered voters 2 million. They have 2 million advantage. On primary day, 1.5 million Democrats came out, only 1 million Republicans. I think there's a lot of dissatisfaction in Republican circles on a number of things. I am a big supporter of President Trump, as you know, and I support certainly the effort to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. I think a lot of people are not so supportive, right? And there's a lot of people on social media. So you have that problem. Gas prices are high. the big beautiful bill is great, but it's just kicking in this year, and a lot of people aren't feeling the benefits. So there's a number of things going on. I think the Trump administration did a number of things that have harmed the base. You know, they embraced, for instance, mail order abortions, that you can get abortion through the mail, and the Trump administration is defending and supporting that. I thought the Republican Party was pro-life, and I think when they do things like this, it hurts the base. I think overall, the president is doing a fantastic job on many, many things. You look, I mean, the guy secured the border just by showing up at the White House. It was a rather amazing feat. And he's done a lot of other very strong and good things. But when these key issues and they go a little AWOL, I think that's what drives the base, and they feel dissatisfied.
We all believe this is going to be now a base election. What do you look for the president? I know he's having this convention. It's really a 2-day pep rally in Dallas in order to rally the base, outline the accomplishments, get people back motivated without him on the ballot. What do you look for in Dallas, and can that possibly be how they turn the corner?
We'll be covering the midterm thing on Newsmax, but I'm not sure that convention's gonna turn the corner. Gas prices, economic. I do think what will help is when people and the voters start focusing on the candidates, these far left candidates, anti-Semitic candidates, like El Sayed in Michigan. I mean, a radical leftist. These are the people the Democrats want running the country. They thought that 9/11 was we deserved 9/11. I mean, these are not people I would call patriot in the patriotic column, right? And I think when the American voters start focusing on that, I think it will be a very positive, more of a movement in our favor. But right now, redistricting certainly helped the Republicans by about 10 seats. But but I think the Democrats will probably, we're looking at potential control of the House, possibly the Senate.
Okay, so you actually think that the Democrats could actually win the Senate?
Yeah, because I see so many seats now up for grabs, and the poll numbers don't look good for us right now. I just spoke to a U.S. senator that says we could lose, end up with 45 seats if we're not careful, if the election were held today. Now, there's 60 days left or a little over that. We need to really focus. But look, Texas, John, Iowa is in trouble. Ashley Hinson. North Carolina, it looks like it's going to go to the Democrats. Maine, Susan Collins. You start going through Dan Sullivan, they said could lose in Alaska. There's a lot of problems there. So you're seeing seats all over the country that are up, that were never thought of to be up for grabs, are looking increasingly worrisome.
Why?
Well, I think there's a lot. Donald Trump's not on the ticket, so his supporters are not coming out, right? I mean, they're not as energized. And then a lot of people are angry with Trump. Look at Trump's approval numbers, which are now down in the low 40s. Okay, they had started off about 50, which was good for him and the country. They're now in the low 40s, right? But then look, the way they do the approval, do you strongly approve or somewhat approve? Do you strongly disapprove? Do you somewhat disapprove? The strongly disapprove in those polls is 2-1 over the strongly approve. So the people that really hate Trump are totally energized to come out. They're donating money. They're moving. The people that like Trump are somewhat on the, and I think there's various things. The Democrats are hitting hard on public corruption issues. They're saying the Trump administration is corrupt. I disagree with that, but it's all over social media. I think those issues are going to come back to haunt us on those type of things. So we gotta be really above, like Caesar's wife, above reproach. And then you see the abortion issue I mentioned. It's Venezuela. You know, in Florida, we have a huge Venezuelan Cuban community. They really applauded when the president went into Venezuela, but he's not setting an election, and he looks like he's keeping the Maduro regime without Maduro. That's not good. I mean, went, and they're very upset. They're telling me and our people down in Florida they're not coming out to vote. So these things come back to bite you. The president's been usually very consistent, and I think on some of these key issues he should remain consistent.
What about Cuba?
Well, Cuba, they're upset there because they thought there was an opportunity to take it. I just think it's very difficult to go into Cuba now because of the Iran situation. Iran is an extremely difficult situation. And obviously, it's not we're not easily winning that war. It's not like Venezuela. And I think the president really has two options right now. One is to just walk away, which would give Iran control of the Strait of Hormuz and control ultimately of the Gulf states. And that would be a terrible situation. Or to escalate and to get control of the strait. And that's going to be painful. But I think the president's only got that option now of the two options. And right now, I don't think he wants to do anything before the election, but I think after the election, we may see something happen.
Now that you've taken Newsmax public and you're basically have grown the company above and beyond what a lot of people think. I remember, I got to tell you, when you went public, I had people that were competing with you. I'm not going to give you their names, telling me it was one of the biggest scams they had ever seen, right? And now the stock has gone up and people have made money. So a lot of those naysayers were jealous of what you've done, without mentioning the names. There were several of them. You probably know who they are. But now you've gotten through that. The company is growing, but you founded it. You're the CEO. What is your vision for Newsmax, Chris Ruddy, as you go forward? The next step, your vision, what is it?
Well, I think again, we're talking about look at political candidates, look at our track record. I've been doing this now for 28 years, and we've been very consistent in our viewpoint. We've been very consistent about taking on the media. We've been consistent in supporting our friends like President Trump or the state of Israel, or for strong national security, and values that we as Americans agree on. So that's number one. Number two, as a company, we have $125 million in cash, no debt whatsoever. Our growth rates are really strong. We're going to be up very significantly, at least 13% year over year. And we have good fundamentals of what we're doing. We're doing a cable channel, we're doing a streaming channel, Newsmax 2. We have an app. We're on everybody's smartphone, or iOS, Android. Just go to your app store. You can download the Newsmax app in just a couple of minutes and watch us anywhere in the world. Very few. You can't do that with Fox News. And we've had, I think, about 15 million people download. So this is big numbers. And I think the future of Newsmax is continue to do what we're doing, which is challenging the media, be an alternative voice for Americans who really want information, and fighting the good fight. And, Fox is changing. It's not what it used to be. President Trump has criticized Fox. He has said, you're not what they used to be. But Newsmax is consistent. I just spoke to the president this week, and he said to me, Chris, ultimately, you guys are the best on TV. That's what he said to me. I don't think I'm breaking any confidences by him saying that. He said, we're the best. And a lot of people say that. I keep working hard. We have Greg Kelly, Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, famous journalist. She calls it like it is. She asks good questions. She was hosting the debate in South Carolina with Darlene and Norman. And she asked it, what about Taiwan? And Darlene Graham said, I don't even know anything about Taiwan. And that's been a clip all over the news.
Oh, yeah.
So we're asking tough questions. We're getting to the truth. And we're working for you, the American people. And our success at Newsmax, let's not be floating around on this. We believe it's the viewers. It's people like you, John, that support us. It's not Chris Ruddy sitting in an office making decisions. It's the people that support us. And so we appreciate that. And you are making a difference. You certainly made a difference with Newsmax.
Thank you. Let me ask you this as we get into the next chapter of Newsmax. What will your legacy be? What do you see as your legacy, Chris Ruddy?
Well, I think I offered an important alternative viewpoint that the country needed starting in the 90s. I mean, I started this, I was covering Bill Clinton's White House, and I saw that the media was monolithic back then. I thought they were bad back then. They're really bad now, right? 90% of them supported Bill Clinton. I thought, how can you represent the country as a media? And now, today, I would say 99% of the media oppose Donald Trump, and it's not good. And I believe, my legacy, I think, is part of the American legacy, right? To keeping our country free and strong, keeping a constitutional republic. And we can only do that if we have a truly free press. And what we've been seeing increasingly is a decision on so many issues that you can't talk about certain topics, whether it's vaccines or the 2020 election or and so forth. And Newsmax keeps, going along, and we're breaking that. We suffer for it. They block us on advertising, they block us on websites, they block us, they say nasty things about us. But we keep growing, and I think it's the support of your listeners, and of course a little help with the guy upstairs. He's helping us, so we appreciate all that he does too.
How has your advertising growth been?
Advertising's been up significantly. Yeah, we keep growing on the ad sales on both the TV and the digital. We're seeing a huge growth in streaming. The cable channel world is declining, but everybody's going over to streaming. We're streaming right now, right?
Right.
And you have people watching all over the country, all over the world. And we're now on every Roku, Samsung, Vizio, whatever your TV set is, we're probably on an LG. We're on Pluto, Zumo, all of these things, and people are watching.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, as you go forward, you guys have been visionary. I remember wasn't too long ago where I was in the fight with you, battling over one of the cable carriers not wanting to pay you guys the cable fee, and I remember being in that battle. And that was before you went public, and that was like a battle to the death. And you hung tough, and you were able to negotiate that. But you've grown your company beyond that. I think that's really the difference. You look at OAN, for instance. I mean, their problem from day one is they banked everything on the subscriber fees and didn't grow the other end of their business. And when that dried up, they're in trouble. And so it's a declining apparatus as a result of that decision made, where you guys fought for the subscriber fee, but you realize that you couldn't base the company on that, and so you've been able to diversify.
I don't know what OAN's a good company. I mean, they're good people. I like them over there. So we think there's a lot of room in the table for conservative media. It's not just us, and we're not opposed to any of them. So it's great, and you see it. You see the pie gets bigger. But we're battling with the FCC on stuff in the Trump administration because they're allowing the big media companies to consolidate, and the broadcast industry. Brendan Carr's doing some disastrous decisions. So our battle oftentimes is sometimes in our own camp.
Nexstar, how do you?
Well, we're opposing that merger. This is a company where 80% of their employee donations went to Kamala Harris. Very liberal. They are going to be the biggest, thanks to Brendan Carr, has made them now the biggest TV group in the nation. They'll have, they'll be 44 states. They'll reach 80% of the public. They only should be allowed to reach 39% under federal law. It's just a dangerous thing. Like, why are we helping groups that opposed us? We're against consolidation. We want media diversity. And it's just insane, some of the things I see go on. So, but we're doing what we have to do. Check out Newsmax. The president just put a story we did about Iran up on his Truth Social. Download our app. It's free on your smartphone. And check us out on your TVs and cable.
Chris Ruddy, thank you for being with us today. Always an honor to have you on, and I'm one that has embraced your vision, and I think your legacy will be that you really change the way people view the news forever. That's going to be your legacy, Chris. Thank you.
Well, I go back, John. I'm too young to have a legacy. I'm going to wait another 30 years before I offer you a legacy.
Thanks, Chris. Pennsylvania Posse next. Keep it right here.
Liquid cargoes reportedly used an Oman-backed internationally authorized route that Iran rejects or traveled with tracking systems disabled. Ships are using the U.S.-backed Omani route to bypass Iran's transit fee demands while hugging Oman's coast and disabling tracking systems to reduce the risk of Iranian interference, a security approach backed by the Trump administration. The increase includes oil tankers, a development that could ease supply concerns and put downward pressure on energy prices. John Scott reports.
$20 billion worth of Canadian goods are affected by new sanctions ordered by President Trump after U.S.-Canada trade talks collapsed over the weekend. A rapidly expanding wildfire, the so-called Hawk Fire, is bearing down on Reno, Nevada.
Some 42,000 people are being ordered to evacuate, and another 45,000 are being encouraged to leave as a fast-moving wildfire from the Sierra foothills to the edge of the University of Nevada campus has grown to at least 13,000 acres. Governor Joe Lombardo has declared a state of emergency for Washoe County, and the sheriff is calling the blaze human-caused. Fire officials say the blaze apparently began Saturday and grew significantly throughout the day, with strong gusty winds, low humidity, and dry vegetation. At least 6 people have been injured. I'm Donna Warder.
Out of this morning's Wall Street opening bell, the Dow futures down 52 points. NASDAQ futures off 164. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
The health of the king is making news this week in Norway.
Crown Prince Haakon has visited his father, King Harald of Norway, in hospital after the king's health deteriorated over the weekend. The 89-year-old monarch, who's been on sick leave for several weeks, was admitted to the National Hospital a week ago. The Royal Palace says he's now receiving antibiotics for a bacterial blood infection and has responded to treatment, adding that his condition is stable. Last week, the palace said the king had hemolytic anemia and was being treated with cortisone, leading to fluid accumulation in the body that required hospital treatment. Harald, who's been monarch since 1991, has been in and out of hospital several times in recent years. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Will Iceland join the European Union? The decision is dividing the nation of 400,000. Supporters believe that EU membership offers protection and economic benefits. Opponents argue Iceland already enjoys European integration without losing control of its resources. News and analysis, townhall.com. Suspect in multiple murders has been found dead.
Authorities say a man suspected of killing 5 people has been found dead inside a vehicle in Enumclaw, Washington. The discovery came a day after 5 bodies were discovered on a rural property outside of Portland, Oregon. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says investigators believe the suspect, 36-year-old Benjamin Charles Parker, killed himself. The Sheriff's Office says authorities responded early Saturday to reports of a vehicle fire at a property at Forest Grove, about 30 miles west of Portland. Responders found the remains of the 5 people and several domestic animals. Officials say they're working to determine the identity of the victims. I'm Mike Hemp.
Tropical storm Moke is passing to the south of Hawaii's Big Island. It's close enough to dump a foot or more of rain on areas already dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Lala. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
I guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. King size only $24.98. Queen size only $19.98. Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, as low as $29.98. Lux Pierce 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept. Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. Plus, free shipping options available when you order today. So don't delay, order now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
The establishment has already picked their candidate. Same old playbook, same old insiders. I'm not their choice. And this election is not for sale. The stakes are too high for political games. The Socialist Democrats are a threat to America. South Carolina needs a proven conservative with a record of fighting for you. You shouldn't have to guess where your next senator stands. With me, you already know. I'm Ralph Norman. I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
Live from the studios of the John Fredericks Media Network, it's The John Fredericks Show. Grab yourself a cup of 1775 coffee, sit back, and get ready for the best 4 hours of talk in the universe. To be part of the show, just call our toll-free number, 888-480-5646. And now, here's the Godzilla of Truth, the Oracle of the Deplorables, the man who trucks the truth from coast to coast, John Fredericks.
Well, great talking on the John Fredericks Media Network, and I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America, your Oracle of the Deplorables. Thanks for being with us. Pennsylvania posse coming up. Well, we took another loser special election. Oh man, you guys better fasten your seatbelts right now because I am not a happy camper over what is going on. And we're going to bring in our panel. First, though, Pennsylvania Posse, sponsored by our great friend Glenn Story at Patriot Mobile, our sponsor for the Dallas convention. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. Now, Mike Barley's probably sitting there and saying, Fredericks, how many phones do you have? Come on, man. How many phones do you have? Because I'm Mike Barley. I got a lot of phones, too. I got 3 phones. Here's one. Here's 2. Got the other one there. Oop, plug just came out. I got 3 phones. I got 3 pens. I'm traveling all the time. Where am I traveling today? Well, we got to go to Charlotte. Then we're going to drive to Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're covering the special Senate primary, and that's going to be between Ralph Norman and Darlene Graham. We're going to be there live at Norman headquarters on Tuesday, and then our special show on Tuesday night starting at 6 o'clock. Don't want to miss that. And Truth in Advertising. I've already endorsed Ralph Norman over Darlene Graham, so I don't get Amy Comey Barrett again. Amy Coney Barrett, already been through that once. So everybody knows I've endorsed Norman. I'm going down there, and we're going to be right at his headquarters on Tuesday night, and then we'll give you a wrap-up from Rock Hill, South Carolina on Wednesday, so you don't want to miss that. That will be tomorrow, so we're going there tonight. Me and Dan got the Pennsylvania Posse coming up. But in the meantime, all my phones, how do I do it? Well, Patriot Mobile. That's because they're only $59 a piece. I get unlimited data. I get great service. I get everything. Oh, so on the cloud. Why would I go to any other phone carrier? Oh, by the way, I get a BOGO. Buy one, get one. John, what's a BOGO? Well, that's not like a bag of chips. See, when I go to Patriot Mobile, I get to pick 2 carriers. I pick Verizon and AT&T, but you can pick whatever you want. Sprint, Metro PCS, whatever you want. Pick 2 of them, and guess what? It automatically switches over to where you got 5 bars. The highest bars are where it goes. You don't have to do anything. It's automatic. I get 2 carriers for the price of 1. I get free activation. I get a month free. It's the biggest no-brainer in history. Plus, a portion of whatever they make, guess where it goes? Christian conservative companies. Now, you too can get great service and a better deal on your phone system like me. That's why I got 3 of them. I couldn't afford 3 phones without these guys. All you got to do is go to patriotmobile.com, patriotmobile.com, promo code Godzilla, patriotmobile.com, promo code Godzilla, or you can give them a call, 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, and they'll actually answer the phone in Dallas, and they speak English, and it doesn't go to India in somebody's garage. They actually speak English in Dallas. Tremendous experience. Do it now. Switch over. Save money. Get better coverage. Get better service. Biggest no-brainer in history. PatriotMobile.com. Promo code Godzilla, or give a call, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. Okay, let's bring in the posse. Scott Barger, Pennsylvania House of Representatives, District 80, says he's the best-looking guy of the bunch. I don't know. Mike Barley, GOP consultant, Pennsylvania. Better do a lot better consulting than we did in Butler. And then Jared Coleman, Pennsylvania State Senator, backed by popular demand. We made it 3 weeks, Jared, without you, and we're still here. Stand this. We still somehow survived.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Senator, for being with us. Okay, guys, look, I was really upset months ago when we lost the first special for the state senator in Pennsylvania because we didn't get the vote out. We had no mail-in ballot. We had no ground game. And you know how I stand. I like your colleague, Jared Scott Rothman. I think he's a good guy. He's a good senator. I don't believe elected officials should be chairman of parties. It doesn't work. Never works. Here you guys failed again. You lost that special in the Senate. Now you lose a seat in Butler where President Trump almost got his head blown off. Hasn't had a Democrat in there, I don't know, since like McKinley. And you guys lose that in the House, and there's no ground game again. Scott, what the hell's going on here?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? It seems as though, on the one hand, Republicans, conservatives across the Commonwealth are concerned about the direction our country is going, but on the other hand, they can't be bothered to get up off their couches and vote when it's time to get to work. And This is a recurring theme. I think I think why Trump did so well is he was able to connect the people who may stay home that day. Maybe they go, I don't know. If I feel like it, okay, I'll vote. He was able to do that. In this race, we were not able to get enough of them to show up. Now, it was close, but come on, it should have been a blowout for us. And at some point, I think, not to shift blame from the party to the people, but at some point, the people have to be mobilized. They have to be energized to get out and vote. Over and over again, we hear groups that you think would be engaged, John, like hunters and outdoorsmen, voting at 30% turnout on election day. Don't they know that the Second Amendment is at stake? Don't they know that the other side is pushing a pro-choice agenda that is just evil, right? And it just doesn't seem to connect that they could do something about it. 88 people, John. 88 people is all it would take, and we don't have to listen to Shapiro and House Democrats brag about how they trounced us in a special election. 88 people.
Well, you should have won this 58-42 on a bad day. I mean, this basically is a district that Trump won by like 25 points. This is the second race in a row, no ground game. I mean, they think they could just send out 2 or 3 mailers. I mean, there was no work being done. You know what? The Republican Party of Pennsylvania never really publicized it. There were no press conferences. It's a visionless, rudderless ship right now with what you guys are going on in there. And look, if you're going to be the chairman of the party, you know what? And you want to go to the meetings and you want to have a badge on. I say the same thing here in DC. So equal criticism. Chairman badge. You want to go to the cocktail parties, fine, Senator. Well, then be the damn chairman. I mean, where were you guys? Did you raise money? Did you get a ground game? Did you get a mail-out ballot plan? Did you get an early voting plan? None of the above. Just like the other district that Coleman's people got beat with in the Senate. And at some point, somebody's got to stand up and say, we need a chairman of this party that's actually going to do something. When you have a job and you're a state senator and you've got all this other stuff going on, you've got 3 things going, you don't have time to be a chairman of the party. You just don't have time. And so, look, if you're going to be the chairman, you got to take the blame, right? I mean, if you win, then you have you go on TV and you high five everybody. You got to take the blame. I don't see any blame here. I don't see any mea culpa from the center. I don't see crap. And so another L goes in the books. And then you got Shapiro doing a Shapiro dance in Butler where the president almost got his head blown up. I mean, the whole thing, Jared, is just infuriating to me.
Yeah, it'll be the quickest stint of a Democrat being in, holding that office. Make no mistake, in the fall, Republicans will win back that seat. So this guy will be in office for about 3 months here. Turnout, as Scott said, was exceedingly low. But look, it goes back to, having apathetic, the base being apathetic. When you don't do things that people care about and you sit on your hands, why does anyone want to go out to vote? I don't blame them. At times I sit there and scratch my head and wonder what the heck, why is leadership, what is the agenda here? How does this help folks? I've always questioned that. And so I hope people wake up soon and start changing the agenda, because if we're going to do the same thing as the Democrats, then there's no reason for Republicans to go and vote for other Republicans. So again, the light at the end of the tunnel on this is that the Republican will win that seat in November here. If you look at the turnout, I think it was, Scott, am I wrong? I think it was only like half of what it was
low.
2 years ago.
It was very low. I can't remember the exact number, but but they expected that. And I think not to make excuses, John, I'm just describing the situation the best I can. And this is why I think the Democrats are throwing money at these special elections. The mail-in ballot favors them in these. It's like low-hanging fruit, right? The general election is going to be different. I think Jared's correct about that. But listen, at the end of the day, you can't make people care about things. You can't. You can't make them care. So what we have to do as Republicans is make elections about things that people care about, right? And so that's our part. We will make these elections. We need to make these elections about issues that people actually care about. We need to be Republicans. We need to run as Republicans, vote as Republicans, and talk about issues that people care about. And the voters need to mobilize. I mean, is the party blameless? No. We need to get better at mail-in ballot. I think we are. We're a far cry better than we were a couple of years ago. But there's plenty of blame to go around in this one. Although the senator is correct, I think we get it back pretty handily in the fall. But listen, we're still, even if we do, we're still down. And so the Philly agenda is still running the ship over on our side of the General Assembly, and that's bad news for Pennsylvania.
Shapiro's high on the win. If you think, I just saw it yesterday, there obviously everyone's trying to take a victory lap, and look, they should. I mean, they outplayed the GOP on this, so they should. But what is interesting, I don't know if you saw that as well, but now Shapiro is targeting Muser's seat as the next congressional seat that he believes they can flip. So it went from 4 to 5, and now what's that, CD9 up for Muser. So now Shapiro is eyeing Muser's seat as well, which is very interesting.
Well, why not? I mean, they're getting victory after victory. I mean, I don't think they're going to win Dan's seat. I don't think they're going to win Fitzpatrick's seat. I don't think they're going to win President Hand's seat, and I don't think they're going to beat General Perry either. So I think they're going to go 0 for 5. But in order to do that, we've got to have some semblance of an organization. And when I looked at what we built in Pennsylvania in 24, the bus tour I did for 3 months with Ashley Walukovich there, and Chairman Tavis gave us any resource we needed at the time. Anything we needed, called them up. He just sent it to us. I mean, I don't see the same thing here, Scott, and that's what worries me about these seats, Scott. I mean,
yeah.
Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. Look, when this is a teachable moment for the Republican Party, we'd be fools if we didn't look to see what we could have done better and do better. We need to do that. We all need to do our part. In the House, we've been down now for a couple of years, right? We've been on the losing side. It'll be 4 years in November that we've been losing, and that we've been down a seat. Now, last year, the last cycle, it was even, right? They didn't win any more than we did. And remember, they outspent us by a ton. So we're getting better, I think, in our segment of the Republican Army of understanding how we need to press and what we need to message. But when it's all said and done, we lost a special election. We ought to look at what we could have done better, and then we need to do it. Whatever that thing is, wherever it is we drop the ball, we need to correct and keep going, because the stakes are too high. We can't hide our head in the sand. These people are showing us what they're about, aren't they? They're showing us what they want to do. So we need to learn from our mistakes, move on, and win elections in November. It's as simple as that.
What do you think,
Mike? Yeah, I think there's two things you guys hit on. And look, I think, John, you're right. I mean, when it gets down to the nuts and bolts of campaigns, you have to look at what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And I think I'm a huge believer in the ground game. I think that, to your point, a lot of money and time and effort is spent on advertising, which we obviously, that's important, right? But when it comes down to these special elections and motivating voters and reminding them of the election, that ground game is important. And the days of relying completely on volunteers are sadly behind us, because people there's so many things they got in their daily lives. As you said, you have a couple phones and everybody's juggling everything, right? So having that paid effort on the ground is incredibly important. It's expensive, but it's very important. And when you have a special election, that turnout matters. We saw it there. I think you really have to invest in that. I've seen some efforts, PA Chase and others in Pennsylvania that have had success. I think those are really important efforts that we have to invest in. We have to find the money, and we have to, that's where they have to throw up the flag and say, hey, this is what it's going to take. Where are the donors? Where do we get the money? How do we get this done? But, look, the motivation of voters, I think, you've been talking about it, John, and we have. I mean, a lot of the times, as you guys know, your state house members, how many times do you get blamed for what's going on in DC, right? Because the voters are, again, they're busy. They're doing their lives. They're not putting everything in the perfect blocks. They're not following like us. But you know, unfortunately, and it's certainly not Senator McCormick's fault, but you look at the U.S. Senate and the leadership there, you know, there's a lot of people who are upset about the inaction that's going on. And I think that's bleeding over the fact that they're not delivering on what President Trump's trying to get done. I can speak to myself. I know, as Senator Coleman said, I get frustrated. I'm like, why can't they get the SAVE Act passed? It seems pretty simple to me. And you know, and if you're the leader, you should go talk to the members who aren't for it and lead. And I think a lot of members, or a lot of Republicans in these areas feeling the same way.
I don't think there's any doubt. And you know, Senator McCormick has been railing against the inaction in the Senate. He was mortified that they took a 5-week vacation without passing anything, and so I think McCormick gets it. But that's it. I mean, when you can't get your people out because they're not motivated, then there's no intensity. And the question is, well, why should I be intense when you guys don't do anything anyway? Even though that's not the problem of the minority in the State House. You know, the whole thing is carrying over. So, you know, look, I just want to bring attention to this because now we've lost two in a row, both in very conservative Republican areas. And I just want to be sure that the apparatus in control of the party has a counter to this coming in November. Because if they don't, we're in for a long night.
John, look at. I mean, look, it's frustrating. Look at the data center issue. We had legislation on the board. I had legislation on the data center issue to allow these local moratoriums before we went into the summer recess. And we didn't act on it, which we should have acted on it immediately. So we sat all summer, and then guess what happened? What happened last week? Governor Shapiro comes out with his executive orders, and now he takes the lead, and he's leading the talking points, right? He's leading the agenda on that. That could have been a Republican. We know it's not a partisan issue regardless, which is, again, just scratching our heads sitting here. You know, my constituents want the moratoriums. That's why I put the legislation out to do it. We should have taken action.
Well, why did your leader drop the ball on this, or not, or decide not to go forward with it?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question here, and you know, just exceedingly frustrating. I mean, if I were the leader, we'd be in all summer. That's working. You'd be working all the way in to the election. Of course, I'm not the leader. Obviously, things would be different if I were the leader there. We wouldn't just say a lot of things. We'd do a lot of things, but. You know, the look that, and then Shapiro came in, which is what we said. Look, here he comes. He's going to bring it, and he's going to go ahead and lead with an executive order, which then, you know, kind of took the, you know, then now he's leading the talking point. So it's exceedingly frustrating, and it's fine to be authentic and say that, but it is. Look, that's another missed opportunity. So now we have to wait till we come back in September. Hopefully, we'll take action on it then.
Too often you hear this, well, we have to play defense because we have one chamber and the other folks, you know, the Dems are in control of the governor's mansion and they have the control of the state house. But if you're in control, you can play offense. And I think that's, unfortunately, in Harrisburg, for the Republicans, we've fallen into this rut of playing defense, and it's just not a good rut to be in. You should be espousing and pushing Republican conservative ideas forward, even if you're setting it up as a negotiation. But too often we're just sitting back on our heels, as the senator said.
Let's get to a phone call. Bernie in Pennsylvania for the Posse, line 1. Bernie, go.
First, I wanted to thank you for taking my call. I really enjoy the Pennsylvania Posse. I enjoy all your shows. But I wanted to bring up in Clearfield County what we're doing in the local Republican Party. And this is a program we did get from the state Republican Party. There's a program called Pulsar, and it's an app. You put it on your iPhone. And then with your iPhone, you can do door-to-door campaigning for our Republican candidates, and whatever neighborhood you're in, wherever you are, it puts the houses up, so you don't even have to download a list. It knows where you are, and so we've been going out twice a week for the last few weeks doing door to door. It also has a phone list, a phone call if you want to make phone calls for the Republican candidates. It's seamless. It's simple to use. It dials the numbers for you. It puts you're dialing statewide, from what I understand.
Bernie, what is it? What is it called? Pulsar?
It's called Pulsar. PULSAR, and it's the. I mean, I've been involved in politics for many years, and it's so good. It's so easy. Anybody can do it, and we've been asking for volunteers to help us do the phone calls and do the door-to-door. And I think people don't do it partly because they don't know how easy it is. But this program they put in, it's wonderful. I mean, it's amazing actually. So anybody can get involved and do it. So anyway,
now what's on there? Is it just registered Republicans? You have independents on it. How do you signify who you're
what
talking?
they're doing? Well, this year they're targeting the low propensity. The regular Republican voters are targeted, and the low propensity ones are targeted. So you're mostly going just to Republican doors to whip the base, to get the base out. And
So
get
basically,
fired up for the
R1,
election.
as we understand it, R2, R1, lower propensity Republican voters. When you're knocking on doors, tell our panel, like the last 5 doors you knocked on, lower propensity voters. When you talk to them, what are they saying? Tell us. What are they saying?
Okay, quite frankly, a lot of the doors you knock on, you might not get an answer. So we leave our literature for our state rep, our congressman,
Right.
G.T. Thompson, and our Stacey Garrity and Jason Ritchie. Okay, so that's important. And then, so the voters in Clearfield County, the Republicans, they know the issues. Like when you knock on the doors, they know the issues. They're registered to vote. They're ready to go because we ask them, do they want a mail-in ballot form? We have a mail-in ballot we keep with us. Is there anyone in the household needs registered to vote? And almost everyone, they do want to go vote in person. They do. They kind of don't like the mail-in ballot. And everybody, they say they're registered and they know the issues. And just one last thing, there was an outdoor show in Clearfield County and 10,000 people came to that outdoor show, and we had a Republican table there for one of the first times ever. And person after person after person after person from all our surrounding counties came up to the table and talked to us, and they were worried about the country, and they knew the issues. Like they were ready to vote. I was surprised how many there were actually. So anyway, that's in our rural. I mean, and now we don't get a big turnout. Sometimes in our primary, we've been as low as 20%. We try to hit at least 35. I wish we could go higher into the 40s and 50s, but there is voter apathy too. So there is.
All right, Bernie, thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Bernie,
Thank
with
you
our
all.
panel.
Yeah.
Anybody want to jump in, comment on what Bernie had to say?
Well,
Yeah,
John,
go ahead. No, Senator, please.
That's great, Bernie, that you're out there doing that. You know, that's exactly what we need, more folks like you giving your time and energy to go and talk to voters. You know, John, we see the data. We know, of course, this affordability is one of the most important topics. And like, we have to understand we didn't just get here by accident though, too. And it's not just one failed policy, right? Like, unfortunately, we printed money like it was going out of fashion under the Biden administration, terrible economic policies that had lagging recession impacts that now we're feeling, but also, you know, you got to say it, but, you know, tariffs are a tax that consumers pay. And so like people feel that pain. That's where we're at. It's caused from both sides. I don't think it's fair to say that both of those failed, in my opinion, unwise economic policies, printing money and tariffs. And I say that's why we're here. That voters feel that. Now the question is, who's going to solve the problem, right? And so like both parties are responsible for it. You know, from the federal level, I'm saying. I think at the state level, we have good ways to attack it. You know, obviously we talk about reducing the gas tax. We talk about reducing our personal income tax, et cetera, empowering folks, making government smaller, getting out of people's lives. It's important, though. People feel they want that change. They feel the pain of unaffordability, and they want affordability to be addressed. But one side is going to address that, and they're talking about it by making the government bigger and making the people rely more on the government. Shapiro calls that like making the government the force for good, right? But what he's really saying is make folks more reliant on the government. So give folks more money from the government. Give folks remember the cell phones from the government. Make them more reliant on the government. You need government to make your day better. And we know that's not true. We've seen socialism, communism, and these candidates are proudly gaining traction and boasting about their endorsements for top socialistic by like Bernie Sanders. And you're seeing the local socialist groups, starting to roost. And it's absurd. My opponent calling for government-run grocery stores in Allentown.
All right, let's get to another.
Supporting Mondami.
Let's get to another call. Let's get to another call, Jared. Let's get to John in Butler. John, you're on with the posse. Go ahead, John. Butler, Pennsylvania. You're right in the eye of the tiger, Johnny.
Yeah, I know exactly what went wrong here. It was a flawed candidate, okay? It's nothing to do with the Democrats taking over here. For example, this candidate got there's 300 about 320 mail-in Republican ballots, okay, that did not vote, that voted for the other guy. They did not vote for the Republican candidate. And so there's got to be more walk-in game day voters, Republicans, that did not vote for this candidate. The candidate has a past in Butler, in District 12 politics, and he has a past of going against the old incumbent, Darrell Metcalf, who was very well liked here, had a huge following, 12-term incumbent, and there was problems there. This candidate has got a past here in Butler County, so this is not an indication of how Lower Butler is going. This is an indication of the candidate that was put up to run in this, and the turnout was good. The turnout was like 32%. It was more than the primary, and plus there were tons of doors. Everybody knew about this special because there was over 10,000 doors knocked by the Republicans. Granted, the Democrats knocked on just as many doors too, maybe if not more. But this is all about a candidate, not about the Republicans in general here.
Mike, you want to comment on that, Mike Barley?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've heard some issues with the candidate, and I haven't done the background on everything, but I look, when it comes down to its base, between the Republican and the Democrat, you would hope that the Republican voters are going to come home. And I, look, there may be some things, again, I don't know all the particulars of the candidate's background, but, I think at the baseline of the two polar opposites on the issues, you would hope that folks are going to come out and push it. And, look, I understand you get into the whole debate about, the motivation of supporting the lesser of two evils, if that's the case. But when you're talking about the stakes that are framed here, it's really important it's incumbent upon the party to in the apparatus to push that out and make sure that we've got those bases covered to get people to the polls.
Interesting, because it all comes down to the candidate, right? But it's interesting. Well, there were 300 mail-in ballots where the Republican mail-in ballot voted for the Democrat. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. Either that's a bad sign for us going forward, or it's just they didn't like the candidate. Either or is not, whichever it is, it's just not a positive. Speaking of Shapiro, let's get to cut 5. Here's Shapiro, who's now got a little spring in his step, dancing around, all happy, telling you about, as Jared Coleman said, they're going to continue to give away money. Cut 5, Shapiro, roll it.
Proud of the fact that Pennsylvania is on the rise. But understand, every time we cut taxes, every time we put money in someone's pockets, and we've cut taxes for our seniors, for families trying to afford child care, for small businesses, every time we put $1 in somebody's pocket, Donald Trump and his enablers want to take $2 out. I think we are seeing the effect of those policies on Pennsylvania and the United States. But as I said before, I know a bunch of you are here because you're angry, you're worried, and you're frustrated. Now is not the time, though, to be so consumed by the worry that we simply throw our hands up and say we can't do anything about it. because you can do something about it and you got real power. In 73 days, you get to exercise the greatest power you have as an American. The right to vote and the right to be able to change the course of our democracy. The right to be able to change the trajectory of our country. You've got the power to do that. And I would argue you've got a responsibility to do that.
There's your hero. What do you think, Jared?
Hey, I mean, look, the 13 rules for radicals, Shapiro knows them well, man. Listen to it. Pick the target, freeze the target, polarize the issue, make the enemy and ridicule. Look, this is all straight from Sal Alinsky, and just let him keep saying it. Let him put him on repeat. It's absurd.
So, first of all, I only listened to half of what Shapiro said because I was distracted by Rep. Manny Guzman in the back looking like he's playing PokerStars.com. I can't like that. But Shapiro's, listen, this is, you got to give credit where credit is due. He is one of the most savvy politicians. He, unlike anyone I have ever met, is able to transform himself and become whatever the room needs him to be. He will be whatever the voters need him to be as long as they vote for him. He's not principled. He's not honest. He's not effective. Pennsylvania in the bottom 10% in economic growth in the country. He doesn't know how to do the job, but he knows how to run for office. He knows how to say exactly what the voters want to hear to get them to vote for him. He's very savvy, so we can't underestimate him, even though he's wrong on just about everything.
Somebody else want to comment on Shapiro?
Or Manny Guzman.
Yeah, look, I think again, I think for the governor, it's rich to hear him talk about the economy from this administration. Where was he when Biden was in office, when all this exploded? Again, it's the typical politician try to push this narrative that the mainstream media is pushing, that inflation's gone up where in fact it's gone down. But you have to, I think, to the senator's point, you have to acknowledge that affordability is still an issue, and it's not creating government-run grocery stores that's going to fix it.
Yeah. And the reality is that we're up against kind of like this the sense of urgency that comes from problems that are right in front of us, right? So people go to the gas pump every day, John, and they see the cost of gas and they think war in Iran, right? They make that connection. Now, we may be able to have this long conversation about all of the external factors, the pressure, the cost of oil per barrel and all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, voters think my gas is more expensive because of the war in Iran. What I think the Republicans need to point out to people is that your electric bill is more expensive because of Josh Shapiro. Understand that it is the price of electricity in Pennsylvania and across the PJM is going up because we don't have enough electricity. We just don't. We don't. Now, data centers come along and exaggerate that, but they didn't create that. They're not creating that problem. That problem has been around for a while. We aren't producing enough electricity. Meanwhile, blue state agendas are shutting down generation. The governor has a moratorium in place and drilling for new oil and gas, right? Stacey Garrity's promised day one, that's gone. We're getting at the energy her first day in office. That's the solution. People need to look at their electric bill and understand it's more than it was 4 years ago because of Shapiro. He's the one. He has the power to change that, and he won't because he's in bed with so-called clean and renewable energy. And by the way, accepting campaign donations from data center developers. I mean, but that's just a small thing.
And Scott, you make a good point. We talk about what people are paying. Look, I mean, a good example, again, we've said this before, the gas. I think Shapiro is less talking about gas prices less and less now because he knows that Republicans have put up a bill to reduce the gas tax and eliminate the gas tax here in Pennsylvania. I had a bill to reduce the gas tax out there, and that's something we can do right here in Pennsylvania. We can do that. Obviously, there's a federal component, but the state component's very, very large and would make a huge difference to people. And so we could take action on that, and we should take action on that also. Things.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We have at every turn, Isn't it true, Senator? We have a Republican idea. It may not be the best idea ever, but it will fix every problem. But it fixes something. It moves the needle somewhere. So reducing the gas tax or eliminating the gas tax does do something for prices at the pump. And in the House of Republican or House of Representatives, the Democrats won't even hear it. Won't even discuss it.
Yeah, and it's funny looking at the comments here, right? We get a lot of comments, and some people calling Trump out on things, some people calling Biden out on things, and I think that's exactly what you're saying. Though I acknowledge it's both sides that have caused problems in the affordability for Pennsylvanians, but we're talking about solutions that things that we can do here at the state level to address those cost of living issues, which we should do. Absolutely should take action on a lot of these things. So hopefully we come back to session here. In a couple weeks we start taking action on some of these things.
Well, it's going to take leadership to do that. I'm going to change topics here and get to AI and whether or not it should be allowed in schools, especially elementary schools. Let's get to cut 3. Here's a social psychologist, Jonathan Haidt, on AI in elementary schools. Take a look.
The rise of AI in the classroom and its potential impact on students. My next guest wrote the book on how social media and technology are rewiring children's brains. Here with me now is author and social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. Thank you so much for being here. I want to just pick up on my conversation just now with the secretary, because there are a lot of people, you included, who fear AI's impact on children could exceed the detrimental effects even that social media has had on them. You just heard the secretary say she thinks schools can use AI in the classrooms as long as there is a balance, and there is still teacher interaction. What do you think?
Well, I certainly agree with the secretary on the benefits of phone-free schools, but I take a much more negative view, much more wary and skeptical view of AI. So let's look at what happened to our kids. Silicon Valley ran a giant uncontrolled experiment on our kids. They were guinea pigs for social media. There was no testing. It's damaged their mental health. Silicon Valley escaped. Well, now finally there are lawsuits. Then they ran an uncontrolled experiment with educational technology. They put computers and tablets on every kid's desk, and test scores went down. It appears to have damaged education, not helped it. And now they want to run a third experiment on younger kids, giving them all AI. Already we know that AI causes a decrement of learning. It's devastating us in higher ed. Students don't learn to think if they can just have AI give them the answers. So I'm extremely negative about the role of AI in education, especially in elementary school. And I say, let's not do another uncontrolled experiment. Just keep it out of elementary school. That's where kids need to learn basic.
Guys, this is a real issue. I mean, you think data centers is a problem. This AI getting into schools where basically you don't have to think, you just type 5 words in, all the answers come back. There's no cognitive development. There's no ability to understand research. There's no way to verify if the stuff you're getting is accurate. And it's just you come intellectually lazy. And that's why when they did these tests in Silicon Valley, everything was a disaster, because they're feeding this stuff, spoon feeding this stuff to kids in the 4th grade. And why try to figure anything out when it's all right there on your tablet? Let's go to Mike Barley. This is going to be a problem. It's going to hit Pennsylvania. Do we need legislation? Should this be one of Stacey Garrity's issues? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, look, I'm as a parent, I don't see the benefit. We've gotten away from teaching kids how to learn. And when you look at whether you have to have bills to reinstitute writing cursive in elementary school and in grade school, that's a problem to me. I think you should have to know basic math. You should be working on phonics. You should be working on those staples. They've been proven. And as the gentleman said, our test scores have gone down since we removed those basic tenets. I don't know what the role of AI is going to be for our society. It's already taken over so much in this short period of time. But I don't think it should be a tool that you're relying upon without knowing how to do this stuff independently. And again, it's not just AI. We've seen it with many things. The internet in general is replaced, the idea of research and thought. And that's very important. Look, I'm not sure what I learned in college outside of maybe how to learn. And I do think there's a portion of that we're getting away from. And I think that's very dangerous. I think there should be certainly some legislation to put a halt to this. I think there should be some thought and some real studies put into how it would be used, because if we don't, the education industrial machine will just run through the tape, continue to run, and that's just the way they operate. So yeah, I think that should be a part of a platform, and it should be talked about.
Scott?
We in Pennsylvania are guilty of, in the General Assembly, of many sins. Chief among them, I think, is reducing the entire conversation about education to funding it. Let's just throw more money at it. There's just this more money at it, and no one's stopping to ask the questions about, are we funding it the right way? Well, just throw more money at it. That'll fix it. We're not talking about why are we testing this way? How do we establish accountability among government bureaucrats, aka public school teachers, who have no incentive to do better other than their own personal integrity, right? So there's these multifaceted issues of things that are at play here. Good teachers and bad teachers. You could be the greatest teacher in the world. My wife, for example, is the greatest high school teacher in the world, and she makes the same amount of money as the worst high school teacher in her school, and that's a problem. And now you throw this technology on top of it. No one's asking the question, what are the unintended consequences here? What are we doing? I think Mike is right. We need to teach kids how to learn, and just giving them the tools that give them the answers faster than they can even ask the questions is not teaching them how to learn. I think it's making us stupider, by detrimentally, like demonstrably stupider. like this is what we're becoming. I don't know that we fully explored the unintended consequences of email yet, John. And yet here we are, several steps down the road through smartphones. Listen, I will say publicly to your audience with great shame and in my heart that one of the worst parenting decisions I ever made was to let my kids have smartphones. I had no idea what they were going to become. I thought it was going to be like what cell phones were 30 years ago. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. Social media is destroying the psyche of America's youth. And you add AI on top of that, I don't care how quickly it can teach you how to do multiply fractions, right? Like you're teaching kids how not to think, and that's bad for us in America.
Jared Coleman, you're generally opposed to the government getting involved in anything, but should there be a level of involvement here, Jared?
Look, I think there should be discussion on. We can look at the impact of what AI has on at least the formative years of a child's education. Sure, I more and more I really. Especially as Scott had said in Pennsylvania, look, we know we dump hundreds of millions of dollars into education without really seeing any type of tangible improving results. I mean, some districts getting almost $100 million in additional funding over the past decade, and their scores getting worse. What we are seeing is that perhaps the opportunity to have an education does exist in those schools, but perhaps in those schools, actually, Pennsylvania actually does provide an opportunity for a good education, even in some of these schools that the reading level and the math is at zero. And that's because of the family's impact on their children's education and the role the parent plays in their kids' education. And the court should have acknowledged that perhaps, we see it. Why do we see right now that in some of these failing schools where, the mass, has, they're at 0% proficiency in reading and math, but yet there are some kids going to Ivy League schools out of those districts. Well, that means the school is able to give a good education right now. if the parents and the families take advantage of the educational opportunities.
That is a great argument, because I think, Scott
and when will it and so is it the role to force that education? Can I force a family to value education? Is it the role of the taxpayers in my district to force the value of education of someone in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia when they're already paying taxes and they're doing homework with their kids?
But it could be the role of the Pennsylvania General Assembly to not allow Chat GPT or AI in the third grade.
Your original question, John, look, I think it makes sense. In the formative years of education, let the kids learn to think. Let them develop their own strategy on how to solve problems. And then when they're older, you can show them tools that can solve those problems as well, a lot quicker.
Like AI. All right, I want to get to cut 4. We've only got 3 minutes, but fascinating discussion. Chat GPT, just one of the AI companies. We could do any of them, Claude or any of them. I just picked that for convenience. And what are the guardrails on those? Cut 4, take a quick look.
Let's bring in Teresa Payton, former White House Chief Information Officer under President George W. Bush and CEO of Fortalis Solutions. Teresa, welcome.
Thank you.
So what do you make of this Chat GPT model for 13 to 17-year-olds with stronger protections?
I'm going to keep an open mind. I mean, the smartest algorithm in the world is never going to replace having an open, honest conversation at the kitchen table. But I do like the idea they're giving this option to parents, but I need parents to note this. You must go onto the app with your child and you must opt in for this to actually work.
Interesting. The company suggests it offers tools basically to have the system teach students how to learn the material rather than spitting out the answers automatically. Do you buy it?
Well, I think the proof will be in the details, but the one thing you can do as a parent is sit down with your kid, just like most of us wouldn't throw the keys to the car to the kids and say, hey, I hope you figure it out and learn how to drive a car. We show them how we drive. They go to driving lessons. You have to do the same things with these kind of tools.
Yes, get right back to the parents have got to take some kind of an active role here and opting in and deciding, whether or not Scott gave his kids this smartphone and they're 12 years old, and should they be, doing their homework on Chat GTP and then getting a relationship with basically a bot, which is what it is. They know their name, they talk to them. It's just crazy, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, there's these kids have access. There's almost nothing we can do to stop them from getting at material we don't want them to see. There's almost nothing you can do. If you try to lock the phone down, they buy a burner phone. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. It's almost. I am at the point. I'm not saying this is the solution, Senator. I'm not saying it's the solution, but I'm at the point where we say, hey, look, we're outlawing cigarettes and booze for kids under the age of 18 or 21. Let's do that with cell phones, because there's no way to stop it. There is no, once they found that there's value in it, I could, and remember, don't forget, 24-hour-a-day porn streaming device in my pocket. Are you kidding me? Once they figured out that this is what they want, they will get it. And there's no amount of parent login that's going to stop that.
Yeah. And I think, look, we've seen, if you go back, though it's not Chat GPT, though it's not AI, we've had these conversations. We've had these things come up before. Let's talk about show your work when you were in school. Show me your work. Don't use a graphing calculator in algebra. Why didn't you use a graphing calculator? Because it can actually solve the problem for, for different outcomes. So
Mike
we've done this before, right?
We gotta go.
We get the same reason.
We're going to give Mike Burley the final word, and then I got to roll. Go ahead, Mike.
I hate to give the senator credit, but he's right. Parents, at the end of the day, they do make the difference, right? And if you're an engaged parent, and unfortunately, in many of these schools we're looking at that we're struggling, that is the missing ingredient.
Parents. Always comes down to the parents. We're all parents here. We all get it. So hopefully everybody else out there is good. I love the panel today, and I just want to tell everybody, I don't give these guys a rundown. We just go on the air. I don't give anybody a rundown because that's what makes it fun. You guys know what's going on. You don't need to prepare. Thank you guys for this. I really enjoy it. Maybe one day I'll give you a rundown. We can do an experiment with that. You can put the rundown to ChatGTP, see what happens. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Oh my goodness, I had so much fun today. You guys are fun. Wendy Bell Live next, Pittsburgh. Keep it right here.
107.7 Bon Air, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB Port